All right, we're back live, the All-Star MMA live show, and we are a little bit late because of these people. I'm going to blame them.
Yeah.
They were late. I am never late.
Yeah,
I'm always early.
We were.
You know what I mean?
The
But you
burrito,
can't-
yeah, the burritos were calling.
You can't rely on fighters to be on time,
Mm-mm.
which is like you would think that they would be able to be on time, but you can't
Yeah.
rely on fighters to be on time.
We
Yeah,
were
I'm just saying,
refueling.
okay, they're refueling, and it's just like
Yeah. Dude,
You-
I used to
you
be
know.
15 minutes early on everything. And then I realized like in Phuket, that actually ended up wasting me so much time because everyone was coming late. So then,
everybody.
There is such a
Yeah.
thing as Thai time, you know. So like,
yeah.
Well, there's it's hotter the country, the lazier that they are, like with their time.
I've never made that connection, but that makes perfect sense.
It does.
I know, I feel
there's
like in-
another country where they're always late. I don't want to say it. It starts with a B.
Yep.
Brazil.
What?
I
You
can
said
say
it.
it. I
You
can say it.
I'm just saying, like
I love
Yeah.
they're known
Brazilians.
to
I
be
can
late.
say that.
They're
It's
known to be
true.
We
late
have
too.
island time is a thing.
I'm just
you know?
saying. I'm just saying. But anyways,
Anyway.
make sure you guys go to the descriptions and download the All-Star app and make picks for UFC fights. Later on in the show, we'll be talking about this weekend's card. Main event, Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura, and there's a bunch of other fights as well. Good fights, good matchups. Let's just jump into our guest first. Jada,
What's up, guys?
the one next to the pink tree. Jada, what you got going on?
Me? So I'm fighting in a couple of weeks. I'm just like coming towards the end of a camp. I was in hospital for like a week with a really, really high raging fever, got out of hospital and just literally got straight into fight camp. So I'll be fighting on the 31st of March here in Phuket on the M2 MMA promotion at Sinbi Stadium. So it's MMA, but they have a mix. They're having Muay Thai and MMA fights. It'll be in a ring. I'm fighting a girl called Suris Monfredi, something like that. She's been around. She's done like Lithway, bare knuckle boxing, MMA, Muay Thai. She's done it all. So she's a really tough competitor. I know she's going to bring the fight, which makes it more exciting for me. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just like digging in at the moment and coming towards the camp, cutting off the weight, even though we were just eating burritos. And yeah, that's what's happening for me.
Yeah, you were in the hospital. This is the one thing that I don't like about Phuket is I get sick more here than I anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like living in Korea, I barely ever get sick.
Right.
But here it's just like sick. And then the sickness like lingers sometimes for like a couple of weeks. Sometimes it gets worse and then better and then worse again. You know what I mean? It's like, depending on like what you're doing in your schedule.
Especially in the gym environment. I feel like
Yeah.
when I wasn't a fighter and I was living in Phuket, I wasn't getting sick that much. But training all the time, even Molly messaged me the other day, Meatball Molly.
Mhm.
She was like, I'm thinking about coming back. I'm looking at flights, but I don't want to get sick. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, babe. Like, it's really, really hard
Yeah, it's tricky
when you're here.
because I feel like the harder you like push yourself in training too, like your immune system just keeps dropping and dropping, and there's a certain like point where it gets just low enough that you can start getting sick from like someone else. Then you catch something, and then like once you have it, now you're out for a few days and stuff.
I feel like viruses kind of thrive in this environment here.
The
Yeah.
human
And it's
climate.
just flying around.
I mean, they tested me for like several things and everything came up negative, but I had a fever of 40. I didn't eat for 8 days. I lost like 4.5 kilos. Yeah. So it's just one of those, you'll hear there's so many pros, but one of the cons is like, always getting sick. I feel like I definitely, if something's going around the gym, I catch it. 100%.
It's a transient place.
Yeah.
There's people coming in for like a couple days, couple weeks,
Okay,
a
but
week.
George has never been sick. When have you ever seen George sick? Tell me one
Well, he
time.
barely trains though.
No,
right?
but
So,
even like he's always holding pads for people. Frank never gets sick.
Even if they do get sick,
yeah,
they're
Frank
they're
catches things.
pushing through it because
Yeah.
they're the owners of the gym.
Nah,
They're not
George
gonna
has
take
never
days
been
off.
sick.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I've had sessions with Frank where like he's kind of like stuffed up or like nasally or something, and he'll like take a second and just like and just go off the side and just take care
Unless
of it.
they're like dying, they're gonna be at the gym,
Yeah.
training, teaching, doing whatever they need to do. Right?
Yeah,
My theory is George is never sick because he just doesn't stress about things.
that's got a lot to do with
Yeah,
it,
George is
to
just
be
always
fair.
chilling. He's like,
Yeah.
yep, it is what it is. If I can't control it, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm convinced that's why he doesn't get sick, because I stress all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm
sounds like
always sick.
That sounds like the craziest logic that, oh, I don't care about anything.
Not that he doesn't care, but he
You
just
don't
like
think he
doesn't let it
care about anything?
no,
He has a
no,
family
that
with
is
2
not
kids, you know what I mean?
no,
Like,
that's not what I mean. But he just doesn't let it affect him. Like if he can't control what's happening,
Right.
I'm pretty
why
sure
are
it
you gonna
affects
worry
it.
about?
Yeah, so
I'm
let's
pretty sure it
so let's say there's a limit to like how much your mind can, you know, like deal with all this, right? Like I'm sure you can't like not care your way through like a cancer, right? Like for example, but it's weird though. Like I've had
I don't care. Like I don't care. Like
it's like no,
it's
that's
cancer, man.
yeah,
like I
that's the
don't care.
treatment, like
you know?
like fuck leukemia. Like that's just how we're gonna get through it, by not caring about it.
Yeah, it's like what what's the name? Steve Jobs.
Mhm.
He's like one of the richest people in the world, and he decided to say like, "Hey, I'm gonna battle cancer naturally."
Oh dear.
And guess
That
what
would be
happened?
me.
Oh
He went, I think he went to India and like he went to do some treatments there, natural treatments, you know, holistic, whatever. And then
Right,
what
right.
happened? He died. If he
Yeah.
would have took the treatment in the hospital, he would still be alive right now.
Well, but you can't guarantee that. And also, I
know,
think
but still,
chemotherapy is
wouldn't
like a
you-
terrible thing to go
I know,
through.
but wouldn't you rather try that and then something that's proven to work most of the time,
Yeah, I
rather
feel-
than something that's proven to work none of the time?
Right, because it's like if you've got access to it anyway, as say like one of the most successful businessmen in the world, why wouldn't you take it and then do all
Exactly.
like the spiritual, natural healing like that you want
Afterwards.
off? Yeah,
It's like rehab.
yeah,
You know, because I'm pretty sure being that rich, there's people coming to you with all kinds of treatments, right?
Right.
Like, yo, this is not allowed in the hospital, but you know, we've done a couple trials. Like, we want you to do it. If we could cure you,
yeah,
then we could blow up as a. Like, think of it like that's what you would want,
yeah,
right?
for
So,
sure.
anyway,
sure.
let's go back to the MMA. Anyway, you're fighting in what? Not this
2
weekend,
weeks.
but next weekend, right?
2 weeks from Saturday
Yes. So it will be in Simbi Boxing Stadium.
in
is it?
Simbi Boxing Stadium.
Simbi
Yeah.
Boxing. So you know, a lot of people will be there. I'm pretty sure a lot of people from the island, because there's
I-
people fighting from different parts.
I will be dropping a promo code for tickets on my
Oh.
Instagram soon. So
I thought you were gonna say something else.
I will be dropping into OnlyFans. Never.
Discount
I
code.
thought you said I was about to drop it.
Feet pick.
Also, were you supposed to fight this girl like at some point in the past? Because her name sounds so familiar.
I feel like we may have been matched up for something at I can't remember. It was
Okay.
like I was supposed to fight Apida at one point and I didn't
Mhm.
fight her, but then I ended up fighting her later
Right, right.
Talking
Yeah.
about a girl that disappeared all of a sudden.
after I beat her ass on TV.
Yeah, but
Just gave her the business.
No, I actually think that she
literally.
no, I found her
disappeared.
on Instagram.
Damn.
She also reverted to Islam and now she's like
Really?
full on Muslim. Yeah, hijab and all. Yeah, I found her on
Wow.
Instagram.
Wow.
Last
'Cause I
time
went
saw
looking
she
for her, I was
always
like,
doing
where
those
is she?
TikToks and stuff all the
Yeah,
time,
no,
right?
she went.
Changed her life.
Yeah,
Bro, you beat
Hey.
the TikTok.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Jesus.
TikTok assassin.
Just got
But,
erased from TikTok.
But there should be some good fights. You know that James, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, he's fighting against Colton.
Yep.
In Southside.
Yeah, cool.
I guess they've been going back and forth. I didn't even know anything.
Yeah, I like
James
that they're
is-
trying to
yeah.
hype it up.
I guess they're trying to hype it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything, but I just heard what James said on the show, and I was just like, "Damn, do they really got some like legit beef with each other?"
I can't imagine they would, but like,
I don't know,
it's-
but
yeah,
Colt's
but it's,
actually a pretty nice guy. So it's
oh, he's a
cool.
really
yeah,
nice
Colt's
guy,
a really
right?
nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you there for his fight with against JJ?
I
like,
saw
years
it
ago?
on. I just
Oh,
yeah, I just saw it on the stream. I wasn't actually there.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
too busy getting a burrito.
Girls
Did you-
gotta
Did you
eat.
see that fight too, John, or no?
No, I think I've seen it. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't remember. I've seen so many fights that I don't remember if I've seen it or not.
Right.
And sometimes I thought I saw it, but I didn't.
Yeah, because like JJ was clearly hometown favorite, of course,
Yeah.
right? Trains in Phuket. Like 90% of people in the arena from Phuket. And I was like, man, I'm not sure he won that fight. And then like the referee did the decision and it was split decision in favor of JJ. And I was just like, whew.
It was a close one.
I think
Yeah.
JJ got cut up pretty bad that fight, didn't he?
I think so.
There was a lot of ground and pound in that fight.
Yeah, he got taken down quite a few times.
Mhm.
It's weird with when you do MMA in the ring because like sometimes they're really inconsistent about when do you get reset.
Yeah.
You know, like if your head pops out of the side of the ring or something, then like they kind of.
Do you remember what the promotion was that they fought on? What was it called?
Was it TFC? Maybe?
Yeah, because they also favor stand up. Like they prefer the fight to be standing. So as soon as
Yeah.
your head like pops under the rope, they'll just stand you up rather
Yeah.
than move you back to the center.
Well, I
Right.
think most smaller promotions prefer to have more stand up. in the fights because it's
I think too, being in
possibility of the
Thailand.
highlights,
Yeah.
there's not many, there's a grappling highlights, but there's more. You could miss a punch and that could be a highlight,
Right.
right? It's
That's
like
true.
it could be like miss a punch and fall down. Oh, that's a highlight. We could put that on the reel, you know. Like, but with like grappling, it's a little bit harder. Like you got to be real high level, or there's got to be a lot of scrambles.
Yeah, but ground and pound makes a good
But
highlight too.
ground and pound does make it. But how many people are like really legitimately good at ground and pound to where they
Right.
could keep you there and pound you for 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Kayla Harrison is phenomenal at
She is,
that.
but
She's
we'll see-
crazy.
She's
We'll
a
see her
frightening
at
human being.
135 though. It's different.
Yeah, I'm interested in that
Different.
fight.
All that weight.
That's
So
a
much.
tough weight
Okay,
cut.
if she
Yeah.
makes the weight cut, right? I feel like that's going to be the biggest battle for her. Do you think that she will maul Holly Holmes
Yes.
also?
But I think Holly Holmes will make it a fight to where she's just running around the whole
Yeah.
fight.
Like when
So,
she
like-
fought Ronda Rousey.
Like a runner.
No,
Yeah.
no. Not even like when she fought Ronda Rousey. Less than that. I think she's become like this really like super counter fighter where she's like even countering her stance and like the movement.
She's countering herself.
Yeah,
at this
she's
point.
countering the counter, right?
Damn.
And then what it is a good way to like not take much damage and win fights. Score. It's like point fighting in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if Holly Holmes sees something, she will like go for it, right? She will try to finish you, but it's percentage is very low.
I think it depends on judging too, because sometimes like you can fight that way, but some people score center control really heavy.
Mm.
I've seen that where I feel like the person moving on the
you're
outside.
just running around the outside, but then you're landing more. You're gonna win the fight. It doesn't matter who's controlling the center. If you're running on the side, on the outside, and you're landing more, countering, and then maybe initiating from time to time, just to look like you're initiating. Sometimes that is like something that judges see is like who comes in first. It doesn't necessarily mean like anything was landed. It's just like you threw the jab, you threw the 1-2, and then it's like it seems like you're more active, but you're not really
I
active.
feel like that's how I fought in Abu Dhabi, and then some judge freaking gave Old Love a 30-27 against me, which was ridiculous.
Well, I guess if you're trying to manipulate the rules, right? Like, but Holly Holm has found a way to manipulate the rules because she does a lot of clinching,
It's true.
and it kills the clock.
Yeah, but
Ah.
Kayla Harrison has that judo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she is
But she's not gonna
terrifying.
she's not gonna be clinching with Kayla Harris.
Right.
That's not
That
gonna
would not
happen.
be smart.
But she's gonna be running around and then just touching her, just da-da, and then she'll make the sounds too, just to make it sound like it's just much more sexier.
I
right?
would have loved to have seen Chris Cyborg and Kayla Harrison. I feel like that would be a really good fight.
Of course, it would have
It
been.
would be.
That would be an amazing
And she
fight.
was offered to Harrison, from what they're saying. But
To who?
She left.
Offered-
Chris Cyborg was offered to Kayla Harrison, and then she
Oh.
left to the UFC.
Damn.
okay.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But I understand why Kayla Harrison go to UFC.
Oh yeah.
Because she already like made this millions of dollars outside the UFC. Now she's gonna try to become this superstar because that's what the UFC is gonna do if she wins.
I heard that PFL were
PLF.
paying Kayla Harrison so much money that they
Yeah.
couldn't open another division because of how much they were paying her.
She was,
Holy crap.
she's probably one of the greatest women like combat sports athletes ever.
Yeah.
Woman ever, like already. She doesn't even have to go to the UFC.
Yeah, because like even before I started like getting into the MMA world and stuff, like I knew about Kayla just from like grappling and stuff. I was at the New York Athletic Club because so she I think was fresh off of her second like Olympic gold, and like American judo's like it's solid, but they don't get world champions and Olympic champions nearly as much. So like Kayla, like men and women like combined, just was by far the most accomplished like American judoka in like their history and stuff. So then just seeing her back then, like she looked a whole lot different than she's now, and like proper like MMA like persona and everything. But even back then, she was like this super like formidable like presence. Like
She looks the part.
yeah, just
That's
being in
why.
the same room, I was like, I'm not stepping within arm's length of her. Like she's fucking
She
terrible.
reminds me of like a blonde China, in WWE,
Mhm.
China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she looks like a blonde version of that. Just
Yeah.
like just jacked.
Did you
just-
see
yeah.
that? I think they were sitting up at a press conference and one guy stands up to ask a question to, I can't remember who it was, but he obviously speaks a different language.
Mhm.
Basically asked him, he's like, would you pump the lady sitting next to you? And he like looks at her and he's like,
Oh
yes.
yeah, it was Armand Taruk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes. And they're like, do you want to tell us what that was? And he's like, no, stupid
it's a bad
question.
thing.
Stupid
And
question.
It's just so that was an idiot. The guy was a goddamn idiot. Like, why would you say something stupid like
Just
that?
Right, it's quite
typical
disrespectful.
guy
Like, you want to
talk.
just be on the internet, you know what I mean? Like, is that what you wanted?
Well, he got it.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
And then he's probably gonna get fired from his job for being an idiot. It's
Oh,
like,
was it like a publicist, like media person? Who-
I know, I
don't
think he
know,
was
I don't
just a
know.
random
I
Joe
think
in the
I think it was
crowd.
just fan.
Oh,
Q&A.
okay.
Fans are just idiots. The other one was just like talking crazy to Arman. Like, Arman's like one of the best fighters in the world, dude. Probably gonna be a champion real soon.
Yeah.
This dude, this clown is over there just like flipping him off from the stands and just like, Beneil's gonna beat your ass, or Oliveira's gonna beat your ass.
I feel like sport fans are just some of the worst sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
they are.
yeah.
They are the worst.
God.
Sports fans are the worst. And I think fighting fans are the worst because fighting fans, they're just like, they're more bandwagon than anything. Because like in other sports, you have your teams. Like, yo, you know, of course there's bandwagoning, but you have your teams. Like,
Yeah.
you're from this city, that's your team.
Yeah.
And you could like other teams, but that's your team, right? In fighting, you don't have that. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm from Korea, so I'm just like diehard all the Korean fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Right.
Any country you go to, it's not like that.
It's really just like who's hot in
Yeah.
that moment. And then
Yeah.
as soon as you lose, they're really quick to jump.
It takes it. There's different levels. Like, if you're a fan, you don't know, you've never met all the fighters, so you only know them from like their fights
Yeah.
and their interviews and whatnot, right? Their behavior, and then you become a fan of them through that, right?
Yeah.
But we're in different positions. Like, we know the fighters.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
hang out with the fighters. We become friends with the fighters. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's a different, like
Mhm.
our world of fighting is different from a regular fan's world of fighting.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't realize that. You know what I mean? Some, you know, with us, you know what I mean? Us,
Yeah,
we're like,
'cause,
oh,
like-
fans are fucking idiots. They are idiots.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand like why they're fans of like, oh, Sean O'Malley. Why are they fans
Right.
of him? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's that when I think of that, it trips me out. Like, people asking me, who's your favorite fighter? It's like, it's hard to say, you know what I mean? Like, who my
Yeah.
favorite fighter are. There's a lot of fighters that I like.
Right, there's
you
so
know, and
many,
they
like-
don't necessarily have to be famous either. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
like, or like in the UFC or whatever. There's fighters that I know that, you know, like, I'm really cool with them. They never became this huge superstar, right? But that's
'cause
just
it's
because
like-
you know them.
Right, because like on what criteria, right? Like you're talking like achievements wise, it's like all right, then like there's gonna be some clear favorites, right?
Right.
But if it's like who am I closest to, that's gonna be something a little bit
Uh-huh.
different too.
For sure.
So like yeah, we're in this really like strange
We
situation, like being
we
in
are
Phuket,
strange.
right? Because like speaking of Arman, I remember he was either my second or my third like ever like round when I got to Phuket, and like
Second or third.
George and Frank basically like rolled out the red carpet for me. They knew I was gonna try to like make the Thai national team and stuff. My first round was top Noi because he was my drilling partner. First 10 seconds, I just blasted through him and Frank just started laughing. But second round, it might have been second round, I got Arman. I remember I tried to do the same thing to him and like full like blast, full power, right? And my forehead just bounces off his chest and like nothing happens. And I'm like, fuck. Like, this is gonna be a long round. But yeah, man, he's really good, like classy guy,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like really respectful guy.
really good too. Like,
Yeah.
and plus he's way bigger than you as well. Let's put it to context.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like it's like guy same size as like dude is
Right. He's like
Yeah.
two, 3 weights like above me. At the time.
exactly right.
I was
So,
pretty small.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Still
let's
small.
let's jump into the first topic. Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I hope I'm saying that right.
Young, isn't it Young J? Doesn't it say Young JJ?
Jędrzejczyk?
I'm not even
I
gonna
don't
try.
know. JJ, aka Joanna.
Have you ever seen those memes where it's like, what's the Wi-Fi password? And they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's on the router, and then they put her last name, like the password on the router. It's like her last
I
name,
have
just
seen that.
something ridiculous.
Yeah, just a bunch of like
That'd be an easy way to remember.
yeah, pretty much. It's just the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, so she goes into the Hall of Fame, right?
So
UFC Hall of Fame.
deserved, yeah.
She wasn't the first UFC strawweight champ. I believe she was the second.
It was Carla Esparza.
Yeah,
was
and
the
then she
first.
beat Carla Esparza, and then had her championship run, had her fights against Wei Li, had her fights against the best of the best, right?
Yeah,
And
like-
beat a lot of them.
Listen,
Yeah,
in
that-
my opinion, she won that first fight with Wei Li.
Oh, that fight
See?
was so good.
See, the
Mhm.
fights were so close. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, the first fight, definitely the first fight was so close. It's just too bad that she bruises so easily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I think that kind of judges, you know what I mean? They
Yo,
look at
Whaley
that.
turned her into Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I will
the
never
kind of-
forget that.
The kind of damage that she at least looked like she was taking in
Yeah.
that fight, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But the fact that she recovered like back to normal as a face, it gives you a lot of like, okay, so I can get fucked up like
Mhm.
that and then return to normal is okay.
Yeah,
Don't be
it's
scared.
it's a temporary condition. Like it'll come for the most
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
So like she goes into Hall of Fame, well deserved. You know what I mean? I was actually in Singapore. Was it last year or the year before when
Was it-
Whaley fought Joanna?
Oh, it
right?
was the
rematch.
retirement fight.
Yeah, nobody knew it was retirement.
Right.
I don't think it would have been if she won. I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
like if she lost, she was
Yeah.
going to retire. Yeah.
Okay. I
But
see.
like that, I was in the arena for that. That was crazy to watch her like get knocked out
Mm.
and then retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
'cause
was kind of sad too in a way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because a bunch of us were planning on flying out for that
Mm.
one. I think a bunch of us did end up going. Frank was there, George was there.
I think the Scousers went to that too.
Yep,
the
because it
Scousers.
was like Road to UFC.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
that's right.
right. And then
Yeah.
Top was fighting on that, so Alex went too. Right, like they brought a whole
Dude,
like
there was a
squad.
bunch of
Was
people
Peter
from
on
the
that
gym.
one?
Yeah. No, not Peter.
Not Peter.
No.
It was all the Koreans that trained at the gym. They
I
were
kind of miss the
Ah.
Koreans.
and then
Yeah, they were nice.
and then Top Noi
hmm
and who else fought? Oh, Yuri fought that night.
That's
Remember
right.
he did his
That's
camp?
right. Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy to watch. That was a crazy event. To
Wait,
be at.
who did he fight that night?
Glover.
Was it
Oh,
Glover?
that's when he was like losing until the very
Yeah,
last
yeah.
day. I felt really sad for that other guy, for Glover. Like,
But Glover won the title though. after
Yeah.
that, so
Yeah.
It was all good. That's what he wanted to do. Glover's like one of the nicest dudes. But Joanna, I think like from what I remember, her best performance, her Michael Jordan performance was like when she fought Jessica Penne and just beat
she
the
messed her
living shit
face
out
up.
of her.
But they're just worlds apart in the striking.
But the thing is, like, if there's worlds
department.
apart in the striking, then you're supposed to be able to use some other aspect of your game to like
But her
neutralize that, right? But she couldn't do anything. It was like Joanna was just doing what she wanted, you know what I mean? In a championship fight.
Can we just also like acknowledge the fact that she spent most of her UFC career as a white belt? When she got
Oh.
her blue belt, I was like, wait, what? Yeah.
Huh.
She spent most of the time as a champ as a white belt and no one could submit her.
Damn.
Come on, that's
what does a gi?
impressive. Like,
That's a gi. Like, when do you put on the gi?
That's
no,
right.
but against Claudia Gadelha, like Claudia Gadelha took her down several times and couldn't
I
do
know, but
anything.
she's grappling. She's no gi grappling.
Yeah,
right?
'cause the
Doesn't-
belts
we
are-
don't.
Yeah, but you should
we don't
still
know
get
what
great.
level
I've
it
been
is.
graded like I don't really train a lot of gi, and you know Alex still graded me my blue belt. Well, I actually was training gi back then. It's been like 4 years now. I
yeah,
forget.
Yeah, because
Like,
like
come
Sean
on.
Strickland has a black belt, and like he
Yeah.
openly admits that like
He's
it's
never
just
getting
doesn't.
the gi. Yeah, they just give it to him because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
seems like you're at this level. Here you go.
Right.
But Joanna probably didn't really care, or she probably didn't have a, like a jiu-jitsu coach or whatever that wanted to do that. Because
Right.
nowadays, jiu-jitsu coaches, I don't think they really even care anymore about that. Like in fighting, especially. For
Yeah, it's like
fighters.
you get a meaningful enough accomplishment, like by some standard, then they're happy to give you the belt. Just kind of as like a it's kind of like a what's the right word? Like it's kind of like the right moment to award you somehow, and like a belt's kind of a nice way to do it.
Okay, my favorite is when Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya fought, and they had some really sloppy grappling exchanges. They weren't very good at all, and then they gave Alex Pereira his brown belt or something after that, and I was like, "Why would you do that? It was terrible."
See, now that's like a joke.
It was really terrible.
That was the fight Pereira won, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because Izzy who never like wrestles, but like Izzy took him down. Like,
Yeah,
and then
and-
like controlled him and stuff.
And
like,
Alex Pereira was not good on the ground at all, and then he gave him the next level belt. I think it was his brown belt, and I was like, "What? What is happening?"
Joanna, man, she was like a high level kickboxer in
Yeah.
Muay Thai, right? And Muay Thai as well. Like before she even got into MMA, like she conquered a couple, sports.
Yeah, she's a
You know what I mean?
beast. Yeah.
She was a beast. She's only 36, even right now. She's
Oh,
only
wow.
36.
Yeah.
Like she retired at the perfect age, I think.
I
That's
She could
what I'd
enjoy her
like to
life.
do.
She made money. She probably has like some kind of like, ambassador thing with the UFC, guaranteed. 'Cause
I
when
think
you're
she wanted to
from-
become a manager, right? She said something like that. Like she wanted to stop
Yeah,
managing
I wanted to
fighters.
like
Why would
pursue
you wanna do
business
that
or
kind
something.
of job.
That's a tough
That's
job.
a tough job.
Maybe she
Yeah.
feels like she could do better than what
I
other
think she's
managers have to
doing- I
offer.
think she's doing some kind of like ambassador stuff for the UFC,
Okay.
like because she's from Poland, right? So
Yeah.
she could like go to different countries, go to her country, you know what I mean, stuff like
Yeah,
that, and
'cause she-
people love her.
Yeah,
like,
because she's
wherever
a
she
great
goes.
ambassador for the UFC.
Exactly, right?
Right.
So there's a few fighters like that are like ambassadors for the UFC.
Right.
You know, it all depends on like what country.
Yeah.
You know, if you're for the US, it's like you're fucked.
Yeah, because most
They
people.
don't care. The US people don't care.
Mm-mm.
They're just
Yeah, like Alex, like Volkanovski is a a ambassador. like,
exactly, but like,
For
but if he was from the US, they probably wouldn't even care.
No.
No, but if he's from Australia, so that means like he could be an ambassador for,
right.
for the country or whatnot. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
great ambassador. Yeah. So like Joanna, what about you guys? What do you think? What do you know about Joanna?
Honestly, I don't know too much. Like I've seen, like my memories of her were just like some really awesome, like exciting fights. Like I think I remember like the first and the second fight against the Wei Li, and then I think when she fought Valentina, and there was like one or
Yeah,
two
that's right.
moments where it looked like she could have gotten her, like the same way Alexa, I think, ended up getting
Mhm.
her like later on. But it was like whoa, like she's in this, like
Yeah.
Valentina did not look like
She went all
100
5 rounds. Yeah.
right. Like I think in some of those exchanges, I was like, oh crap, like Valentina had some like moments where she looked kind of human, if that made sense. Yeah. And so like, and I think it was it she had Valentina against the fence, I think, and then almost like took her back, like almost had a choke in, but just missed it, I think. And then that was the one moment in the fight where it was like, damn, Valentina could have lost that. And then like the rest of the fight went Valentina's way. So like that one I remembered a bit.
Yeah.
I know she defended her title 5 times, which actually didn't feel like a lot. I thought she would have defended it way more, but I know she won it off Carla Esparza. Like she just made Carla look like an amateur in that fight. Yeah, she just had nothing on her. Then she defended the title 5 times, lost to Rose. Then I think like the second fight between them, I think I did think biasedly at the time that Rose won because I actually was quite a big fan of hers. But I've watched it back a couple of times and I feel like maybe Joanna had some bad decisions made after she'd lost her title against her, and then maybe at one point when you've been the reigning champion for so long and then you're losing, you're like, all right, well, maybe my time's just passed now. And I know she wanted to have kids. That was also part of her reason to retire.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you
But
heard much about Rose? Because I haven't seen her like in the news at all.
She's fighting soon,
She's a
isn't she?
flyweight, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fighting. She just lost her debut, I think, at flyweight.
Yeah, she fought
Oh, that's right.
Manon,
Yeah.
who's isn't she
Oh,
fighting
right,
for
right,
the
right. Okay, yep. The
Manon's
French
fighting
lady?
soon, isn't she? I swear I
Yeah.
thought she was having a title
Manon's
fight for
fighting
some
soon
reason.
against Aaron Blanchfield.
Oh,
in a
that'll
couple
be
weeks.
interesting.
Oh,
Erin Blanchfield surprises me a lot because just physically, she just does not look like a fighter at all. And then she just goes in there and like does the business.
She does. She does.
Molly said that she's like insanely strong.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
She's from Philadelphia. They built strong over there.
They are built strong.
They're
You can
like
tell she got that dog
Rockies.
in her as well.
Got that Rocky
Hey,
spirit.
Rocky. Joanna was in a movie. Did you know this?
No.
2019.
What
Women
movie
of
was it?
Mafia 2.
I could see her
That's
doing something
perfect.
like that. Yeah.
That's perfect.
She was an inmate.
I'm the boogie
That's
woman.
awesome.
You can see Joanna like, come in. Like with the crazy eyes, right?
Oh my god.
That's so funny. Yeah, Joanna, look at longest win streak in UFC women's strawweight division history.
Damn.
Like,
How many times has Wei Li defended it now?
I don't know.
Twice?
Not many.
Because she got it. No,
She got it. She lost it.
That's true, and she got it back.
Oh,
That's
that's right.
right.
Because Rose
So
knocked her
defenses
out.
are not many for her.
Rose beat her twice. Actually,
First,
yeah.
Oh.
First Polish UFC champion, first female European UFC champion.
Damn.
That's man. She has some great like accomplishments.
No, she
Yeah.
was like, amazing. It's one of those things where like I'm in awe of her, but then I'm also like sad because I'm like, I want to be like that. I just want to be at that level.
Yeah, and like those are super meaningful accomplishments too. Like being like a trailblazer from like a certain region and stuff like that. Especially like in today's day and age, especially where it's like if you hit like a certain level of like skill or like mastery or something, like you can kind of travel overseas, find the people you want, but then like, you know, now you feel like you're part of this other gym. Let's say if you train overseas, and then now your home country, your home like doesn't really feel like it gets as much credit, right? And but then like if you kind of continue to represent like really, really well, then it's super, super meaningful. And like
I think she was also like kind of one of the first, not like the only, but one of the first females who tried to sell the fight by being like talking a little bit of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like she did try to like get in the minds of her opponents and stuff like that. Yeah. Which I don't think is, you know, females don't do that as much as, of course, as guys. Yeah,
Well,
they don't
Ronda
shit
was
talk like
doing
that.
it, and
Yeah,
then,
she
like,
was.
right when Ronda was kind of like disappearing.
That's
came
when
in
she started coming
and
out.
took
Yeah.
over, and that's why it's like she came in at the perfect time. It was like Holly Holmes was Holly Holmes, but she wasn't Ronda Rousey, right? But in this division, which is probably the best division for women's, right, in UFC, she's the one who kind of like made everybody forget about Carla Esparza. Like she's not the first one. Joanna, I think a lot of people probably think Joanna's the first champion ever in that division.
Right.
It's interesting that she never was on that season of TUF, that she like got signed, because she actually said when they were putting her in the Hall of Fame that 6 months before she signed with the UFC, she was going to quit because she wasn't making money or anything like that. So I was really interested to why she never made it onto the Ultimate Fighter that season, like as a strawweight.
They probably didn't even know who she was.
I know, but you have like you can apply for it, can't you?
Did she apply?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. She probably didn't apply. She probably didn't even know what's happening. Half the time, people don't know what's happening. Like I'll hear it through the grapevine, talk to people, but there's no like announcement saying like, oh, they're doing a new season of TUF. Oh, it's like the people that know, they know. It's
like accepting applications, whatever. You don't really see those.
You
posts.
don't hear like you would think like it'd be advertised, you know?
Right.
Did you know she has a fiance?
Oh, so she does. I was wondering. I was like,
look at this. Her fiance.
How long have they been together?
Polish football player.
Ooh, how long have they been together?
His name is. Dog,
I respect the effort.
Even with the accent.
She is no longer engaged.
Oh, what?
To Buta.
So they called it off?
Buta.
Oh,
Puto.
So they got engaged and then called it off?
How long were they engaged? I was always wondering if she had a man because she doesn't, show him off or anything.
Well, she's living her best life. I think she was engaged and then she's just like.
Well, me and one of the guys at the gym today were talking, because he was saying how he notices how a lot of the champions in MMA have wives. And I was saying how I notice a lot of the female champions
have wives too.
No, I mean single or lesbian. I said single or lesbian. So like, I guess in theory, having a wife can really build you up in fighting, but having a husband will really fucking bring you down. So
yeah. Well, hey, Jessica Andrade, did you hear what she said? Like she got divorced from her wife, and like she's getting she has to pay for all the divorce and everything. It's pretty crazy.
Also, I mean, everyone saw how Mackenzie Dern came and fought Angela Hill when she was in the middle of her divorce. That fueled a fire in her.
Mackenzie Dern has I don't know what's been going on.
She's also, because she's got another man already.
She's already married, I think.
Oh, what the?
Damn, that was fast.
And
like that one kid in high school who's got like a new boyfriend every week. I was like, how do you just jump ship like that? If I like one guy, I like that guy for like
once though.
Okay,
come on.
But she didn't even get
she
didn't even get divorced that long ago, and she's already remarried.
Like when she get divorced, you're gonna be like single, ready to mingle, right?
And then already married again.
Mackenzie Dern too.
Yeah, you can imagine how many.
The Diaz is hot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like, oh my god, back in like the soy days and stuff. I remember like I won't name him just because obviously it's public, but he was like, man, last night I was so drunk I slid into like Halle Berry's DMs or something like that, and he showed me his phone. Right, he's like, hey, how you doing? My name is like name, and I was like, damn, I can only imagine if you're a celebrity, you get like fucking hundreds of those.
I did that to an actor once, but now we're actually friends.
Yeah.
He ended up replying, and then we just ended up like becoming friends.
Yeah.
So now we're just like social media
You
buddies.
see, like, yeah, you're right. Like especially women, famous women, like there's people just randomly messaging you. There's got to be like
Yeah.
I'm not even famous, and I
Yeah.
get random
That's what
dudes
I'm saying.
messaging me.
That's what I'm saying. Like you
Mhm.
just, it's just different. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But yeah.
It's
But
one,
sometimes it works though.
that's fair.
Sometimes it works. Like not everybody is on Tinder,
Right.
I couldn't.
right? What's
Yeah.
another one? Tinder and what else?
Bumble?
Tinder,
Bumble and what else?
Bumble. Was it-
Is it Hinge? Is
I
it
think
called
Hinge
Hinge?
was used to be just.
It should be called
US.
Unhinged.
Hinge?
Not Hinged.
No, there is this joke where it's like they should have a dating app where like you just list all like the red flags.
All
and
the
just
shit
call
that's
it
wrong with you,
Unhinged.
all the toxic traits.
Yeah. But-
Listen, I feel like the more you have, the more women will try and match with you. Trust me.
Oh Jesus.
Bitches
Yeah.
are fucked up.
Hard.
You know
pass.
what? One thing about Joanna though, I think she looks better now than she has ever.
She does.
Yeah, but let's not
She's
forget she's
prettier
got
now, too.
money.
Somebody
to do
pointed this
that.
out. Was there some plastic surgery at some point along
I
the
don't know.
way
I
or
don't know if there was
something?
any plastic surgery.
She
but I'm
definitely
just
she had her
saying
titties
she
done.
Looks,
Let's just.
like even like just overall, like
Yeah.
her face, everything. Maybe
But
because
she's
not
probably
fighting
less
anymore.
stressed as
Oh,
well.
You know what I mean? But it's not like she's gotten like chubby or anything like that.
No.
Like she looks way more attractive than she did
She
when she was
does.
fighting, and
Yeah.
younger when she was younger too.
This is true. Yeah.
So like,
I think.
hey, do your thing.
I
Mhm.
think one thing that did it for her was she let the eyebrow. I remember seeing she let her eyebrows grow out because at her UFC debut they were like those pencil eyebrows. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "Honey, that is not the look." But now she like has some thick, her hair's flowing. Also, when you're not being a female, like obviously we choose to fight, but it is a really high intensity. It's a stressful environment. You're constantly like in your masculine. It takes it out like of anyone, and I think that takes it out of females sometimes to not be in that like relaxed feminine state. So now she's chilling. She doesn't have to worry about punching on. She's probably like feeling different, and it's probably like giving her a glow.
It's almost
You
like
know.
getting permission to be a lot more feminine than
Yeah,
she used
it
to
is.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Dude, women are the biggest haters on women. I'm not gonna lie to you.
way.
My
Yeah,
wife
some-
too. My wife,
Oh,
she does
really?
it too. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like
Yeah?
every woman does it.
What kind
Like
of stuff
she'll
do you
like
hear?
see something. Come on, man. I see my wife's Korean too, so you gotta think of that.
Well, I wasn't hating.
No, I'm not
oh,
saying
I was
you're
like, I
hating.
love her.
But like, she's got them. Like that's the number one thing women like to say.
What?
She got the money to do it.
Oh.
Like,
But you did say you did. She looks better. I'm like, hey,
does
she got
look better,
money.
but that's
She
what a lot
does.
of women say. Like I noticed that. Like it's like, oh, this woman, like she looks much better now. Like what happened?
Oh, you get
It's like,
the
she got the money to do it.
you get those comments of like must be nice having that money.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Like that's one of the main things women like to say. I noticed it
Oh, okay.
throughout the years.
I see.
Oh, she got the money. They're like, look at her. She's rich. She's a celebrity. Like she got
Yeah.
the
Have you seen
access.
that thing where it's got a picture of all the Kardashians before and after? And it's like, you're not ugly, you're just poor.
Exactly. It's true. Like you're just poor.
That's true. Money will do a lot for you.
Money will take the sloppiest looking person and turn it into.
I
the
feel
best
like
looking
Korea is
person.
like renowned for that, right? Like
Of course.
plastic.
big on
What about
plastic
that guy
surgery.
who
Dude,
had to
it's
sue
just-
his
it's
wife
insane.
because
It's insane.
their kids came out ugly
Dude, I've
as
had
fuck?
people like
Mhm.
I'm not even
And she didn't
like
look like that.
like I'm just like me, right? But I don't know. People just like stare at you sometimes. Like if you like, because there's a lot of people. There's like a lot of uniformity in the country, right? There's a lot of like
Right.
conformists and stuff. Like
Yeah.
everybody's like, if you go to companies, everybody's wearing the same exact suits,
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
If you go to like schools, everybody has this type of jacket. It's
Right,
this
right.
color.
Yes.
Cars, they're only like this. These are the colors of all the cars in Korea.
Right. Like sticking to the status quo.
I'm not gonna lie, you are
Exactly.
like the least Korean I know.
Okay. So like when I'm somewhere, like I'll be just like chilling, like at a shopping center.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, why is this dude looking at me?
Oh, because you look so different, like from
I
the
guess, but and I was like, my wife, I was like saying, like, why is this dude looking at me? I was like, I told my wife, like, oh, look to over here. Is this dude looking at me?
Damn.
And she's just like, I think so. I don't know. And I'm just like, looking. I was like, why is this dude looking at me? Like, then it's just like, do I go say something to him? Because it's like, why are you just staring at me, man? Like, you gay or something? Or, like, tell me. Like,
But sometimes, listen, like when I was like younger and I would go out or something, there were several times where I was like maybe in a nightclub and I'd be looking at a girl or something, and she'd come over and she's like, excuse me, like, do you have a problem with me? I'm like, no, you have the cutest nose I've ever seen. Like, I was just admiring your nose.
but I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think someone's looking at me because I have the cutest nose.
Well,
John,
maybe
I
he's
think you got a
like,
cute ass.
yeah, you got a cute. Look at that little piercing on the side
Dude,
there. You
like,
look cute as it.
I got burnt, man. So like I'm peeling.
You
right
are looking
now.
really brown at the
Yeah,
moment.
but I'm peeling all.
Oh,
like,
no.
It's all like it's the worst because it's like it sheds all over your floor.
Oh, like the little like skin bits and stuff. Oh,
like
yeah.
a little nasty snake.
Oh,
You know?
But you wouldn't
shedding.
like, I mean, I've never been to Korea. I can't, but from what I've seen when I've met Koreans and like from all the Korean TV shows and stuff, I don't feel like you're like the standard of what if I went to Korea. What, come on, you're like pretty westernized, man. You're like chilling, you like wear your gangster shit, you got your blonde hair.
Even if I wasn't living in Korea and I was living in the US, I'd still be like different from all the other
Koreans.
or
Yeah.
Koreans.
Or maybe they're looking, he's like, oh, he looks like one of us, but I'm not sure. There's something off about that one.
Play the accent and
Yeah.
everything too.
And you gotta play the accent when you don't want to talk to somebody, right? But
Fair.
I don't know. It's just and plus like my age. Like if I was like standing next to somebody my age in Korea, oh, it'd be like totally different version of a person, right?
Right. I see what you mean.
Because you'd be like because I'll go out and I'll just dress the way I dress. I don't like want to dress anyway else.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
You just are. You're authentic.
Yeah, just dress whatever you dress on. You know,
Right.
you like what you like, right? So
yeah, that's fair.
but it's not like I'm gonna conform to like you're supposed to look like this because you're this age,
Right. Yeah.
Luckily, I don't look really old either. Luckily, you know what I mean. If I would look really old and then dress like this, it'd be kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But you know, maybe one day I'll just wake up and be like, yo, maybe I should start wearing cardigans and button ups and stuff, right?
I think it's
It could
because of
happen.
your like unique background too. Because
yeah.
because I get similar stuff like I mean like my face is like very generic Asian face. Like if I like travel throughout Asia, like when I was in Vietnam, people thought it was Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Like when I was in China, people thought it was Chinese. Like same with Japan but like the point is like I felt like once I started talking, they're like, oh, you're not from around here, right? But then like, oh, you're American. And then when I'm in the US, they're like, oh, you're definitely not American.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I don't really feel like I'm from anywhere.
You belong nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Always an outsider, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of.
Oh, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's my life.
Right.
Like I'm never like from anywhere. Like you go to the US, you're not American. You go to Korea, you don't follow like everybody in Korea, so you're not Korean. So you're like in between.
Yeah, I've since
you're like in between worlds. You're like on Lost. You remember Lost? You know?
Yeah.
Like you're there. Like you're living in that. You're living in Lost.
Yeah, because I remember like when I was much younger, it got me like pretty frustrated. I was like, why can't I like belong anywhere? And I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of nice. You know, it's like because they don't put the same kind of expectations on you. Like they don't expect they don't.
Oh, and especially in your home country.
Yeah.
Like especially in Thailand, you're talking about.
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although my relatives will, try to like project stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But then they realize, hey, this person will not change.
Right.
Right. So it's just like
Yeah.
either you conform to them,
Yeah.
or you don't conform. You're gonna have butts.
Yeah. Oh my God, I've butted heads or I've gotten super close to butting heads with relatives like a ton. Where I'm like, but then I'm also thinking in my head, right? Because at this point I've been on the national team and like wrestling and stuff. It's like, well, he could try to start a verbal argument with me and I'd probably win. But then if he tried to start a physical like argument with me, I'd definitely win. So I could just sit here and chill out and just like
Shay's out there just suplexing his family members.
Grandpa spits him off.
Okay, who's next?
The dinner table.
Yo, I've had moments where I'm like, man, the words that just came out of like this relative's mouth where I'm like, I would not mind just pushing their head just like through concrete right now. You know what I mean? Just like, but obviously just thoughts. Like it doesn't, I've never actually gotten like violent in the family or anything like that.
I've got like the same thing, but I think it's funny because like I'm a girl and then I'll be like looking at my uncle and I'm like, I would literally whoop your ass. Like, what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure there's a Conor McGregor meme that has exactly that. And it's just like when you look at your family gathering and you could beat everyone's ass. And it's like Conor McGregor in like the nicest like suit, just sipping coffee, but he's got this like stern, like look on his face, just kind of like giving you the stare. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's just not a flex for a girl though. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
To just be like, well, I would win in a fight, and everyone's like, okay, miss muscles, like no one cares.
That's true.
But for a guy, you can flex that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I flexed it when I was in my like accounting days. It's like the most jacked accountant. Nah, I wasn't.
Buttons starting to like pop off your shirt.
Oh,
like, I could calculate faster than you. Like,
Dude,
well, I'll suplex your ass.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, I was probably the dumbest person there, like by quite a bit.
It
But
doesn't matter. Suplex.
Yeah, but you could
everybody.
literally suplex them. So what's it matter?
yeah, it's like, you know, they can out like, you know, they can out argue me and tell me I'm wrong. It's like,
Hey, one suplex, everybody else will be working for you.
yeah, it's like where they're like, hey Che, like you were wrong about this thing. It's like, you want to fight about it? let's take this outside.
just a heavy double leg. Land on their, not on their head, just their shoulder.
Yeah, just
Man, wrestling's just so hard.
just take the
man.
wind out of them.
I just, when I even think about that in my mind, I'm just like, that's just pain.
It is a lot of pain.
It's just.
I'm
pain.
surprised not more wrestlers like annually that they don't have like a higher death rate, because you're watching people get slammed on their necks like that.
Mm.
I always, when I watch actual wrestling matches, I'm like, how do more people not die doing
Yeah.
that?
I think the injury rate's like super.
Can you
super
imagine how
high.
many trapped nerves there are like
A lot.
happening? Yeah.
Pinched nerves. Like I've seen like Division 1 wrestlers compete with like the neck brace on. Like it's wild. Like it's
There's a reason why wrestling existed during the Roman days, and
Yeah.
it still exists now.
yeah,
There's
it's
a
just
reason.
this like timeless,
It's
like
just,
yeah,
it's primal,
right.
right? Like it's body against body. Just
Yeah. Right. Like I had a coach tell me, like, granted, he's kind of crazy, but still a coach. But he said, like, it's like you should be honored that like you get to train as a wrestler, because that's and he said, for some of you, that's the closest you're ever gonna get to like God. Because like this is the same kind of sport that gods would have, like, you know, like it's in the Bible, it's in like
Mhm.
Greek mythology and stuff, where like they would challenge each other to wrestling matches. Right. And so to kind of be part of that,
It's definitely like, obviously I've trained almost everything, and I definitely think that wrestling is like physically the most challenging and the hardest to catch on to.
yeah, it's by far the hardest thing I've
You
ever
can
done
throw
in my
sloppy
life.
punches and still knock someone out. You
Mm.
can't like throw a shit like run a shit double leg
oh
and
no.
against someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like I feel like in striking, I was telling you this before, some of the hardest sparring matches I have are against like people who don't even really know what they're doing almost, because how can I know what you're going to do if you don't know what you're going to do? And if you just happen to catch me with one of those wild punches, but if we're both wrestlers and your wrestling is shit and my wrestling is elite, like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like jujitsu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're like legit, like high level.
It's like jujitsu, but better.
Well, it's more violent than jujitsu.
It
right?
is.
Well,
Yeah.
the actions are more violent.
Yeah.
But jujitsu, you could kill somebody, right?
Right.
But wrestling, you could kill somebody too. You know what I
True.
mean? Like, there's you can slam somebody on their head and break their neck and kill them, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's something that can actually
Yeah.
happen.
That's true.
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, didn't the guy in one championship who just lost from a DQ because he slammed the guy on his head?
Oh, Jared Brooks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jared Brooks.
Yeah. What do you guys think about
and
that?
then
'Cause
It's
didn't he have like a
dumb.
kimura on the
Yeah, he
It's
was
dumb
holding-
right.
because
So it's his
it
responsibility.
was the Rose
to-
Namajunas Jessica Andrade thing
Yeah.
in a way, you know,
Right.
kind of similar to that. And
Yeah.
in the UFC, that was
'Cause
offended
that-
in
it
a
was
title
legal,
fight
yeah.
too.
Yeah, because that I felt like that ended fair. It's
Yeah.
like you can let go of the submission at any time to break your own landing, right? It's like,
You should.
yeah, if you're
why did no one
spending-
teach you how to break fall?
right? It's like if you're spending whatever remaining limbs you have trying to submit me, if I'm about to like run your head through like canvas, it's like I feel like that's your fault. That's not mine. Right? Like it's
But you're not allowed to spike on the head. But if, like, of course, you would shift it so you could land on the shoulder.
Right,
But
yeah, it's pretty
hard
easy
to,
to-
it's hard to land on the shoulder and not the head. After
Was
that,
the
right?
guy okay, or was he
Yeah.
like knocked out?
No, he kind of went limp a little bit, right?
Yeah,
And he finished the fight. Like Jared Brooks should have won that fight.
Mm.
But you know the rules of with the
It's
rules
like
they
you
go
can
by.
knee someone in the face while they're on the ground, but you can't slam them
right.
on
Well,
their
not
head.
directly on their head,
On their
right? But
head.
I don't think he was really slammed directly on his head. And what's the wildest part is Joshua Pascio, right? The guy that got slammed.
Mhm.
Like he's doing like a world countrywide tour with the belt. in Philippines.
Oh,
This is like an Aljamain Sterling kind of situation.
It's wild. Like because he's going to like government people, like taking pictures with government officials and all that with the belt.
He's like,
It's-
I
but it's
won the
not-
belt by getting slammed on my
But
head.
it's not the first time he's been champion though.
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's been champion before. It's weird. Like, why would he just start doing it now?
Is there more significance to this one? That's like making it.
it's not.
Do you think that
He got
maybe it's
slammed on
just
his neck.
now like one's bigger than it was before?
No, that's not what it is. That's zero. The Ultimate Fighter season 32. I just think like this show is just an obligation to ESPN that the UFC has to do.
I
because-
really like. Do you not like it?
I never
love
watched
it.
any of it.
I love.
Yeah, I don't think I even watched the one with Frank and Woody and Volk.
Yeah, I barely
No,
watched
I
that one.
love that.
I barely watched that one. And we know the people on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I watch something that I don't even know?
Right.
It's just like it's like Alexa Grasso, who's like, she should be on the cover of Teen Weekly or something, like, right? That's what she looks like. She looks like one of those, like,
She does like those dolly magazines that you used to pick
Exactly,
up when you were a
like-
kid. Yeah.
Right.
she does. She looks like she should be on like the cover of that.
How
Like,
old is she actually?
she's like in her 30s, early 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's not.
She got that
you know.
Latino blood, man.
Yeah.
She's never gonna age.
And you got Shevchenko, who looks like a secret agent, right?
That's true.
Dude,
She's one of the most
she's
impressive
she's
human
so
beings.
fit, like,
Yeah.
all the time, which is insane.
Right.
Did you see like what she was wearing? She was wearing like this all white.
Yeah,
It's
it did
tight.
look really good.
She looked hot in that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I have not seen that.
Like, I'm not even like into her, but I'm just saying like, she's like really fit.
I actually thought the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I saw that.
it's just like different. Alexa Grasso's like wearing her tough sweatshirt.
oh.
They're facing off, and Shevchenko's like in this tight, skin tight white
basically,
jeans
yeah.
with
Damn.
this top all dolled
A little
up.
bit of heels on.
Yeah, a little bit of
Ah.
heels on, and Alexa Grasso's just like,
Damn. Just-
and you're like, Alexa Grasso could probably just do exactly the same and look even better,
Yeah.
but she
True.
doesn't.
Mm.
You know, like it's interesting. It's
Do you think they just
interesting.
get to a point where they're like, because I see some people really doll up for weigh-ins, and when I first started Muay Thai, like I definitely went through the effort of putting makeup on for all my weigh-ins and stuff, and now, like I want my hair down and shit like that. But even in Bali, like I went from the sauna basically to the weigh-ins to face off.
But the UFC has people
Yeah.
that does the makeup for you.
Oh.
No, but maybe she's like, I just can't be fucked.
Did-
You know, it's not
No,
fun
but if you
sitting
want to
in
do
makeup for
it,
2
but
hours.
the thing is, like all the pictures that you, like all the things that you do, like during a fight week, people are taking so many photos of you everywhere. Like there's
Mm.
video of you being filmed. You know what I mean? Like so,
Right.
if you really are conscious of that, of like what kind of content goes out and how you look in your content, of course you're gonna be putting on the makeup. I
Right.
bet you the dudes are putting on the makeup
Oh.
because that's what they do. They put makeup on the dudes too, like when they take photos, right?
Oh, right. True, true.
So, you know, like, why would you not? You know, if you want to hide something, they put makeup on.
Well, I
Right.
was saying to Shay today, I was like, I didn't even get to straighten my fringe before coming here.
Yeah,
Oh.
it doesn't, well, you know.
Yeah, just
like-
straight here from the gym.
But the thing is, like, when you're at a fight week and you, like, the weigh-ins, it kind of does, like, you get these photos, right? Of you,
Yeah.
because you never know what, you know,
That's
how
true.
it's going to turn out. So I
Yeah.
can see why they put the effort into it. Dudes,
But the thing is, she looks good anyway. Like Alexa Grasso is attractive, right? So even
Yeah.
without the makeup and
she's
stuff,
fresh.
she
Yeah.
looks
She has
good.
that fresh face, like the girl next door.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, if you lived in, like, the barrio,
Right.
you know,
Fair.
like one of those neighborhoods. Like man, she's like, I never expected her to be a champion. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Her
Yeah, if
boxing
you
is
just
so
looked at
good,
her
though.
face, you would
Yeah.
just be like,
You just like,
wait.
she just came on. It's kind of like she kind of has that, like, it's like the Aaron Blanchfield thing. Kind of
Mm.
same. You don't
Mm.
really see like what, like you don't really see like nothing like too crazy, but they just win.
Mm.
And they're getting better at the
Yeah.
same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think Erin Blanchfield is going to be the one also. She's going to kind of like be similar to Alexa Grasso. But she's got to beat Man On. What's her name went to go help her for the training camp?
Who?
The girl from Sweden that was here. The featherweight. Cecilia.
I was gonna say Cecilia. I thought she was
Yeah.
Norwegian.
Or Norwegian, whatever.
Okay.
One of those countries.
Oh,
But,
she's there
um,
now. Okay.
But she was there
I see.
helping her.
Cool.
you know, for the
Helping-
grappling.
Oh, Erin Blanchfield.
No, helping Manon
Okay.
in France. She was helping her in France, I think. She told
Oh.
me that when she left here, she was going to go help her. And I did see it on the stories that she was
Oh,
helping
okay.
Because of course she's the grappler, right?
Right.
So like I guess she went to go help her a little bit. But that's cool, you know. Even
Yeah.
like that girl, I think she'll be in the UFC this year.
Mm.
Like she just needs a couple fights.
Yeah.
And they need people in bantamweight. Like bantamweight division is really.
She is
freaking
really,
bad.
she's quite big. Like
Yeah.
whenever I've had to, if I spar her or anything, it's literally just stick and move, like stick and
course.
move. I'm like, do not grab
She's
me.
beating
Oh.
up dudes. Like when you start seeing that, like at that size of like going against guys her size
Super impressive.
and beating them, it's just like, okay, we need to watch out for her.
Mm.
Because she like her, I think her dream situation is like she goes into UFC and fights and then fights Kayla Harrison because it'll be like judo against judo.
Right.
How small is Kayla Harrison? I don't think like Cecilia's not that big.
No, they're the same weight class.
Same weight class, but yeah, Kayla's.
Yeah,
Kayla's dropping
Cecilia's
down to
big, but she doesn't
135.
look. Cecilia doesn't like come off like that big. Like she's not much taller than me or anything.
She's like 135, I
I
believe.
think she's walking around like 75 kg.
Yeah, so she fight at 135, which is
61?
61 too,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, like I think that's the weight class. That's where Kayla Harrison has to drop to.
That's crazy.
But I think like that could be something that could be possible soon. But who knows? We'll see. But
I just realize every time how like small I am.
like, small.
Even for my weight class, I'm
And then
small.
nowadays you see more girls that are bigger coming through in training. Yeah, I noticed that.
That's true.
Like not before it was all small girls, right? And barely any small girls. Too.
Right.
It's not that many. But now it's
Yeah.
like there's girls that are bigger than the dudes.
Well, there's a couple of girls that were there today at the wrestling. I think one might be in Bellator. She was wearing the Bellator outfit and she was big. I was like, I will not be wrestling her. Thank you.
Was Arlene there?
I think that was
That
her.
might be the
I
girl
think
I'm
we're-
talking
that's-
about.
We're talking about the same person.
Sorry, I'm
Arlene?
not
Yeah.
too familiar with like the
I
Bellator.
think it's Arlene. Yeah.
You don't know Arlene? She's from Australia. I wouldn't think you know from like the fight scene or something. Somewhere, you know. you
Yeah,
Yeah,
might
but I
know.
don't like follow heaps of.
No,
I
but she
fucking
doesn't.
hear
She
most of
trains
my
in
life.
she trains a lot in at
Freestyle?
Jackson Wink.
Oh.
But she does train at freestyle when she's in Australia. But I
I see,
think
I
she's
see.
done a lot of camps at Jackson Wink.
Oh,
So
okay,
she's
okay.
like,
Got it.
but she's fought like Cyborg twice, I think.
She did look familiar to me, like her face.
She's
But-
super nice. Like, I haven't met her
She
yet.
seems really nice.
No, but I've interviewed her, but I've never met her face to face.
She was
She's
there
been here
today.
for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was there today.
But like, I want to meet her like face to face. But I'm just saying, like, she's super nice though.
Seems like it.
Very nice.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, she's had some crazy fights in Bellator.
Wow.
I wonder what she's fighting. I wonder if she's gonna do next. But anyways, the TUF. I don't watch it anymore. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Mhm.
Like we said earlier, we barely watched the season where we even knew the people.
Well, I watch it. I like
What'd you
it.
think
He
of
likes it. You
It was
watched the last
good.
season with McGregor and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Michael Chandler.
I
Like how I
haven't
ended
watched
up
any of that.
liking him a lot more.
Chandler?
Yeah,
it?
a lot.
Oh, Chandler's like he's the American boy.
I just
Yeah.
love I just love the way he really like. I'm not gonna lie, like Conor McGregor was there, but he didn't really like coach that much. I'm not gonna
Nah.
lie. Like
So when
he
was
wouldn't
sparring-
even be in the corner. He would just stand in the back, like with
Yeah.
his suit, his hands in his pockets, yelling shit. As where like Michael Chandler like really developed a relationship with his team, and he was
Well,
really
that's Conor,
sweet.
though.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
mean?
know, but yeah,
Yeah.
why
I
I'm
think
not a
that's
huge
gonna
fan
go
of him
with
anyway.
Alexa and Valentina, like their coaching corners and stuff.
It's like you know, it's a reality show, right?
Mhm.
I just think that they're just doing it because they have a deal with ESPN. Like you need the guy.
You don't think that they like actually
They're not even
care
putting
for these
effort into it.
people?
Like who wants to see Shevchenko, who's not even a coach,
Right.
Grasso, who's not even a coach, come in and coach?
But you still know it's just like literally taking the knowledge you have and
I
transferring
know,
it
but
to
it's
someone
just
else.
like you need something there. Like there's got to be some kind of like drama to it. Like you got to
Right.
create that. If you put effort into it, you could create these scenarios where we're like, okay, we could put this and this, and also the cast that you pick.
So like,
right?
well, like when they had Claudia Gadelia and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, that was interesting, right? Because
That
they
was
had
very
mad beef, but
interesting.
neither of them really spoke English at the time.
Which was
So
even
their
better.
exchanges were so cringy. She's like, I can't remember what they were saying to each other, but it was
No, it was
hilarious.
better that way. It was
Oh.
better
It was
because
hilarious.
because sometimes it doesn't come out the way that they want it to come out.
No,
right?
I know, and
What
then
they're
it's
saying.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny,
Right.
but
So
it's
funny.
like the tension, but it's comedic tension. But they don't. But for them, it's not.
That's probably good TV. Yeah, it makes for
Yeah,
good TV.
it's great TV, right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Those are
Mm.
good. Even though I didn't watch the season, but I enjoyed the clips, right?
Right.
Of them going back and forth.
I think it's
The best
what did she
season
say?
is Rampage versus Rashad Evans.
I don't think I
That's the
thought that
best
one.
season ever.
I think out of any of
Is that the one where he smashes the
seasons-
door?
Yeah.
I've only seen that
There-
clip, but I haven't actually.
There's some parts in that one where they're just like face to face, like they were about to throw hands.
No, what about the season? There's the guy with the Brazilian one, and he's like, I can't let you get close to me. That is so funny.
Oh yeah, I watched.
That was a really good one. He's like, I can't let you get close.
Because it's Chael, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta watch Chael.
Yeah, Chael's entertainment.
He says funny shit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's, I didn't even know that you watched all the Ultimate Fighters.
Yeah, I like
maybe
that
you should be
shit.
on Ultimate Fighter. Maybe that would be like,
I feel
your
like
path.
that's such, you know, I'd rather
You
do.
can put your face in that like camera where it's like zoomed in on your face.
I would
with the
rather
lights.
just be like Contender Series, win,
you're
one
like,
and done.
I trained for like 50,000. You know, like you get emotional in that thing, right?
And you trust me, you know I'll be crying. You
Yeah,
know that I'll be
for
crying
sure.
at some
But
point.
you know what though? You gain fans from that. That's what's good about
Right.
that.
I wonder if it's a good like media like appearance.
Of
Well,
course.
the last season
All
had
the
that
footage of
Christy.
you.
Is it Kirsten
Yeah.
Miller, the Miller girl?
Yeah.
She mauled. She got into the flyweight division through TUF. She was mauling those girls, and then she got into the UFC
And it
and
just-
just looked
yeah,
so fucking
just looks
bad.
bad,
Like,
yeah.
but
Just-
she
she's popular though. because
she
of
was
the
like,
show.
I'm doing the self-development, self-work, and you're not, and that's why I'm gonna like win this show.
Yeah.
She used to annoy the shit out of me, and
And
then
she won.
and then she won. And then she won. And I was
He's
like, shit,
yeah.
man, maybe it's that self-development. Like,
I think she's from like
Yeah.
one of the 10th Planet schools or something like that.
But
But she's not. She's different.
her
like,
last
in-
two fights
in
have
turn.
been appalling.
Yeah, her fights have not been good, but like because of the Ultimate Fighter, she got her position in that in the UFC, and now she's doing commentating. There's all kinds of stuff going.
I would
on.
love
Yeah.
that's something I would like to do is get into commentating. Yeah.
But you should get on the Ultimate Fighter somehow.
No, because I feel like what you got to fight like 4 or 5 times is
Yeah.
where Contender Series you could do it one and get in.
Yeah, but the contract you get for the Ultimate Fighter is like 10 times more than,
Oh, really?
than the Contender Series contract.
I would
had
love to
no
just
idea.
get a direct contract.
It would be
Hint,
nice,
hint,
but the
Danny.
thing is, like, if you could win on the Ultimate Fighter and build your profile a little bit, why not? You know what I mean?
What do you think they pay them per fight on that show?
Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, because you're obviously
I'm
getting
pretty
paid for
sure.
the fight.
And plus, for those you get paid to fight, or do you get paid? To fight?
You know, I think the thing that would benefit me is that they've got to cut weight every time. I will be chilling in that department. Like,
Yes. That's why it's good for some people because they could float on a certain weight for that couple of weeks,
yeah,
and then you could just jump in.
I can just be walking around at like 55
And
kilos,
you'd be
no
like,
problem.
Dana, like, I'll just jump in next week, and then you're like, oh, all of a sudden you're fighting 1 week after the Ultimate Fighter taping was over with. You know what I mean? Stuff could happen like that. It just look at Hamza. Why did Hamza become famous? Because he took advantage of opportunities, right? He
Mhm.
fought like twice in 9 days or something like that, right?
Right.
And then he won both, and Dana's like, I love this kid.
I feel like one thing that I
That's
benefit
true.
from Muay Thai is, you know, when I first started Muay Thai, I fought 11 times in 10 months and I fought twice in one night. So, and I think Muay Thai, you get way more banged up than MMA because people check kicks. It's like standing toe to toe. Whenever I have MMA fights, I literally feel like I'm ready to go next week again.
Well, you haven't been in the dog fight yet.
I've been in heaps of dog fights. I mean, not in MMA, no, but in
There's a reason why MMA fighters take so long to come back.
no, but
Yes.
even when I fought in UAE, it was my first time ever fighting 15 minutes. I've never fought 15 minutes, even in Muay Thai. And, you know, when I fight Muay Thai, there are times where I've fought 2 rounds and my legs are just because they check kicks. They like your legs are so banged up. After 15 minutes, I was laying in bed and I thought, fuck, I could replace someone tomorrow if they needed me to.
Well, then put yourself in against Whaley, and put yourself in the fight
That's
that you're
actually,
Joanna and you're Whaley, and you're now you're Joanna's position. You're gonna go through that war. You think you're gonna come back in 2 weeks? You got an
No.
alien in your forehead.
Her whole face went black
Yeah.
apparently from Bruce. But look at Angela Hill. She fights like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, because of her style, and nobody really cares for it.
What do you mean? I actually like
You might
over
like
time
it,
it become
But the thing is, a lot of people don't care for that style. Like, it's just not, of course she fights often, but a lot of
I
people
don't know, I feel
care
like she
for the
really
style.
mixes it up. Like I feel like she's really developed. She's still a bit weird, like the way she holds her hands and punches, but she's always doing like good knees. She started grappling more in her fights. I think she beat Lemos. I think she's had some really bad decisions against her.
Oh, that's
She's
for
beat
sure.
a lot of
For
people.
sure. She's won a lot of fights that
Yeah.
she lost. on the
She's always
scorecard.
ready to go.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'll give her respect on that. But the style that she has, it's not that interesting to most people. I'm just giving you the facts.
I like watching.
You
her
like
fight.
it
yeah,
because
guess
you're a
'cause I'm
fighter.
Yeah,
But
Right.
most fans, they don't like that. They want to see, like, for some reason, Mackenzie Dern. You know what I mean? Like, she's not even like
That's
the
just 'cause
striker of Angela
they want to
Hill.
see those angles when
Yeah,
she's
but
on the
thing is,
ground.
like, her
Think of a lot
style
of
is just
reasons.
like aggressive.
Yeah.
But her striking's not good at all.
Yeah, but if she lands, she has the power, though. That's one thing that separates her from some girls, is that she does land, she does have the power. But man, she's not fighting really good anyway.
she pulls guard.
Well, she's good enough to pull guard.
I know, but
Yeah, it's like when you're at that level, you're totally allowed to pull guard. It's like there's certain people in the room, right, where George is like, you absolutely should not be doing any kind of thing closely related to judo unless you're
George hates judo. He's such a judo
so
hater.
funny. It's so funny. I think I remember it was Kenny tried to do some kind of like judo thing, and George was like, we don't do that at this gym.
But I've
That
seen it
head and
work.
arm toss in the women's MMA is just like
That
I've
one has
seen it
bitten
work.
so many people in the
Yeah,
ass.
yeah.
It's brutal. Yeah, because
Did
then
you-
like you're one slip away from giving up your back, which
Yeah.
like happens so much.
Did you see the one championship card with all just the females card?
yeah,
Did you see when Noelle fought, like some
Yeah.
of those judo throws that she had?
it was some crazy throws.
Dude, at one point they were both
Yeah,
cartwheeling like
yeah.
in the air.
Damn.
Yeah.
Noelle went crazy in that fight, right? The judo was insane. But if you're good at it, some people can't stop it, man.
Right.
And she's strong too.
But she's
So-
literally like 5 foot. I would just
Yeah. But she
I'll
might
refrain
the thing
myself.
is, she might just toss you around too.
you gotta
Come on.
reach me first.
You never
Get
know
to
though.
me.
You never know though. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just
Yeah,
you
it's
gotta think.
it's a really interesting like wild card. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like it's if someone's that good, it's like how do you game plan for it? Because like it's hard to find that feel somewhere else.
Because they're just trying to once you come in to strike, they're gonna just try to like
I'm
lock
just
you
gonna
in.
try push
Yeah,
kick you
if
in the
they can
face.
like overhook you and like go into some kind of grip where they're comfortable with like turning their hips
Yeah.
around and like loading you up, then it's like
They
oh,
just
crap.
even need like that one wizard kind of like
Yeah.
Well,
position,
do you
right?
see when Cheyenne Bays made her, Velisma, when she made her debut on the UFC and she just kept getting freaking head and arm tossed by that.
yeah.
And she just held her there and like gave her
Yeah.
pepper punches. It was,
There's the
um,
Japanese girl who's really good at that, but she submits the other girls though, like puts them in like arm locks with her leg.
is that the one who just
Oh,
fought
Kimuras.
the,
yeah.
the
Izuka
stripper
Hirata.
or-
Hirata.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
here at the. Were you here when she got her teeth knocked out in
Hirata?
the gym? Yeah,
Damn,
she's the
don't-
short, stocky one, right?
I don't think I remember.
No,
this.
Hirata wasn't here, was she?
There's two Japanese
No,
girls.
there's the
in
hot one.
There's two Japanese
Yeah,
girls in the
they fought each
UFC. They
other.
both
No, in the UFC.
Yeah, in the UFC.
Oh, there was two of them here.
One just fought. Who's that ex stripper?
Vanessa.
Yeah, she just fought
Yeah.
Vanessa Demopoulos.
Oh, you're talking about Inoue.
Yeah,
She got her
sorry.
teeth knocked
She
out.
got her teeth knocked out in the gym. It was crazy.
Wow.
She was we were at sparring and she shot on a guy and he threw a kick at the same time and he
Oh.
wasn't wearing a knee pad.
Ouch.
And she just dropped to the floor and we could hear like a scream. And I looked over and so Alex ran over to her. And in like a moment like that, you want to keep someone calm.
Yeah.
But when she removed her hands from her face, Alex is like, oh my God, her lip was split. I picked up her mouth guard and her tooth was in her mouth guard. Her
Yikes.
other front teeth were like pushed back, like up,
God
caved
damn.
in.
Ouch.
And then 2 minutes later, she's on FaceTime with her friend laughing about it.
What a
Gangster.
beast.
Like her lip was completely split.
God damn.
Yeah, beast. I really like
She
them.
just fought.
Yeah, she fought Vanessa Demopoulos. I think she won, but Vanessa keeps getting these weird decisions that when she fought Genuine Fry, no way did she win that fight and someone gave her a 30-27 round.
Those girls all have the same style.
She's the
Angela Hill,
opposite.
Vanessa,
Mm.
Jinyu Fry. All
No,
of
but
them
Vanessa
have kind
just
of
tries
very
to
similar
grapple.
Style. No, but she strikes too, though. I'm saying, but she does try to grapple. But I'm saying like it's not the most exciting style.
Mm.
But she's the opposite of Angela Hill in the sense of she always gets decisions going her way that should
Yeah.
not go her way.
Well, it's better lucky than good
yeah.
in a lot of these times because that's double your paycheck too.
I know.
True.
That's
And
not.
you could
I'm just.
complain all you want.
Why
It
is
doesn't
the
change it.
UFC judging so? Why is MMA
It's
judging
not
so
even UFC judging. It's the commissions. UFC doesn't have judges.
I feel like in Muay Thai they have like a set thing where like you most of the time can tell who's going to win. As we're in MMA, there's so many times where I watch it and I'm certain this person won, and I'll be like, watch, he'll lose to a dumb split decision, and they'll lose to like some dumb split decision.
All right, let's talk about judging. Well, Grasso, right? She comes out and does this interview talking about how in the 4th round, okay, one of the judges made a mistake.
Mhm.
So like they were talking about some knees that landed, and if they're legal or illegal. So she was saying that one of the judges put in the wrong score. So basically put in the opposite score of the 4th round. So
To the wrong person.
Yeah, to the wrong person because of the.
How does she know that?
Because I guess they had a discussion with the commission. So like basically the judging, right? There's 3 judges: Michael Bell, Sal Diamato, Junichiro Kumijo, right?
Mhm.
So in the 4th round, let's just look at the 4th round. 4th round, Michael Bell gives Shevchenko 10-9. Sal Diamato gives Shevchenko 10-9, and Kumijo gives Grasso 10-9. So that means like either Michael Bell or Sal Diamato put in the wrong score.
Oh.
And if either of those guys flips their score, Alexa Grasso wins the fight. Clearly.
But didn't they both score the same way? Sorry, you just said 2 of the judges gave 10-9 to Shevchenko.
Yeah, to Shevchenko. So because of the knees, right, that were illegal or whatever, but that weren't illegal. One of the judges flipped their score and gave the score to Shevchenko. So that means if you flip it back and give it to Grasso, Grasso clearly wins a decision. Clearly, because the last round, everybody gave Grasso the last round. Even Michael Bell gave her a 10-8.
That was fucked up.
Yeah, in the last round, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like if you flipped it, Grasso, let's say Sal Diamato flipped his score, it would have been 48-47 Grasso, 48-47 Grasso for Kumijo, and Michael Bell would have had his 47-47, which is a draw, right? But that would have been majority decision for Grasso. There would have been no trilogy. It would have shut the door, right? But now we got the Ultimate Fighter, another 3rd fight, which a lot of people are not really interested in. They want to see Grasso fight somebody else, right? They want to see her fight Aaron Blanchfield. They want to see her fight Manon Furia. They want to see these matchups, right? Shevchenko, she's gotten to that status with the UFC where she gets a lot of extra push because she's a great ambassador. We were talking about ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
She's one of the best ambassadors for the UFC.
Sure. Yeah.
She can go to multiple countries, multiple languages, and she flies all over the world promoting the UFC.
Speaks like 5 languages or something.
Exactly,
crazy,
right?
Yeah.
Like I understand why she's getting this and the show, right? I'm just interested to see Pavel coaching on the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Right? Because you've been around Pavel, right?
Yeah, because I've like most of my experience with the Shevchenko sisters is like they have their own like sort of like corner, like they used to I think do a lot of work in the cage, and then like the most I would interact with them would be like they were like warming up on like the regular mats, and then once they got in the cage, it'd be like, all right, yeah, they're just doing their thing. Like so I wasn't exposed to like the coaching very much. I don't obviously like something he's doing is very, very effective.
Well,
but
he's got 2 fighters, so like it's pretty good for him. Right?
Yeah,
and he's a great coach. Without a doubt, you've seen what he can do.
Right.
With both sisters.
But I think I see that a lot in MMA. Like people who are just exceptional is when they have like one coach who can just really focus on them. Like they get a lot of extra attention.
Well, they have money to do that. If you have the money, like if that's why it goes back to fighter pay. If fighter pay was better, fighters would be able to like have these camps where they just bring in who they need and they don't even have to go to a gym. Like if you have the money, like in boxing, that's what boxers do.
Right.
Like, all right, let's go to this mountain and get a cabin and like build a little gym up in the mountain. And we're gonna wake up every day and run and we're gonna have these guys fly in.
Right.
Because you have the money to do it.
Right. Super personalized.
Exactly, right?
You. Right.
MMA hasn't reached that yet. You know why? Because the fighter pay is not that good.
Right.
The guys that are making money, they can do it. Like Vault can do it.
Yeah.
Izzy can do it.
Yeah.
We've seen it, right? They even document it on their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Right? All these dudes can do it because they've reached the level of how much money. But it should be the norm for the most part, right? If you're like at the highest level, right? If you're in the UFC and you're like a top, like let's say a top 20, top 30 fighter in the world, I think you should be making enough money to where you can do that. and you don't have to worry about like, oh, is there spies here, or like you would probably get injured less,
Right. For sure.
because all your sessions would just be focused around you. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You would not be running into anybody or running into somebody that's not really should be training with you at that moment during that camp.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? None of that would exist.
That's true.
But we don't have that in MMA.
Right. Yeah, it's like unless you're a world champ, it's almost like MMA kind of becomes like a team sport almost as
It
far
is
as
a
the
team
preparation
yeah.
It
goes.
is.
Yeah.
It's
It
a lot
is.
more than like I would say than Muay Thai.
Yeah.
You can't feel entitled in MMA. You
Mm.
can't, because it doesn't exist unless you have the money to be entitled. Right? Like
I see.
and that's why fighter pay is always the topic all the time.
Mm.
Is because of that. Like, if it was better, fighters probably would have longer careers.
Yep.
They would probably fight more often,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And they would probably injure less, because it would be specified, like everything specified. You know what I mean? Like, you have your coaches, like you have your 3 main coaches, and then you have your like training partners, like 2 or 3, like Wei Lee does, because
Mhm.
Wei Lee got money.
For sure.
So she got her coach with her. She got her training partners that come in.
But
Yeah.
he's been with her even before she had money. They've been together
They've
since
always
the
had
very
money.
beginning.
Come on.
I didn't
Let's
know her.
just I'm just gonna tell you
I feel like
that
that's
right
not the
now.
story. I
Yeah,
feel like
she-
that wasn't the picture painted.
She got resources.
Yeah, she's got resources, right? Like, it's not that hard. Of course, she's probably had her struggles at the start, right? But when she's reached a certain level and like potential,
But
it's like,
he's
all right.
been with her since the very, 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 very beginning of her MMA career.
Yeah.
That might be my phone.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, but like even like Wei Lee, you know what I mean? She's very special. Like when she goes back to the States, she like has, I think Josh Hinger
Yep.
meets up with them and they
Mhm.
work on stuff like specified.
Yeah.
That's because you have the resources to do that. If fighters did have that resource, we'd have fighters that are 10 times better than they are right now, I think.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah, I
getting quality
know.
instruction,
Yeah.
like very specific.
But it's just not feasible.
right.
Like and you know, like it's like, oh, the coaches should be it's just not feasible. Like, coaches are not they're making even less.
It's true.
They're making a percentage of what they make.
Yeah, because then they gotta get paid doing like PTs and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
but I think like a good example would be like Loma, because you see like what they produced out of her in 2 years she was in the UFC, and that's because like, you know, George put so much energy
Mhm.
individually into her, you know, like she was obviously like his first like proper fighter that he brought up, but there was like a lot of energy that went into that, and that's what, when you get some individual attention, it does make a really, really big difference. And you know, he was still like coaching obviously other people, but there
Right.
was that like extra bit of sugar to the recipe that just like, you know, helped her get where she did so quickly.
Well, I think she was brought in by people, and it was kind of like this agreement from the start in a way, right? At Tiger.
Yeah, because even still, like probably upon first contact with George, right, she would have already had a couple hundred like Muay Thai fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like striking knowledge and stuff wise, that's like had she started from like complete
Ground
zero,
zero, yeah.
would have been a very, very interesting, like any situation, not
Yeah.
just her. But the fact that like, because these Muay Thai fighters and stuff have such an awesome like striking base already, then, you know, like, yeah, you can get personalized on grappling, wrestling, whatever, like on top of that, make their striking work for MMA. Then like, but it still feels like they've got less ground to cover because their
Mhm.
striking is already so good, I think. Yeah.
It's like this, right? The state of MMA, and even I guess fighting in general, like in the gyms and on teams, is this is basically it. It's like you're fighting, not fighting, you're training, right? And a lot of these trainings that you're doing is in class settings, right? So what you have to do is you have to be able to go to all the classes, and you know, not every fighter goes to all the classes, and then all the fighters want to complain about shit.
Right.
It's like, yo, you have all the classes to go to. Why are you not going to all the classes?
Right.
And then you want to complain about shit. Like there's that one viewpoint, right?
Mhm.
But then there's so many people at the gym, and there these teams. There's more MMA fighters than I've ever seen. Don't you notice that? There's so many MMA fighters now, at all levels and ages too. It's
Yeah.
wild. Like some fighters are starting their careers in their 30s.
That's true.
It's like, what? Imagine if you started your MMA career in your 30s without no martial arts background. Like at least you have Muay Thai and kickboxing and stuff, right? But imagine like you have none and you just decided like, oh, I want to get fit at 30 years old, and the next thing you know, 2 years later, you're like on the MMA team. Like that has happened to a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you got so many people there, right? So many people.
Yeah. It's
The
really
the climate is like you have to find a place where you're gonna be able to go into the classes and take the classes and be able to be coached in the classes by a high level coach, right? And then work by yourself and just like focus on yourself until you're gonna be able to make the money,
right.
right? And then once you make the money, then you could decide and you're in more power, right? But until that point, you don't have much power as a fighter.
Yeah. And
If you think of it like that.
Yeah, in some ways, I kind of like it this way too, because then it's kind of on you to be proactive.
You
in
have to be.
in the early part of your career, where it's like, okay, I know I got to work on this part of my fight, right, of my game, and so, all right, well, I can go find the coach. The cool thing about being here is that, like, this didn't occur to me until probably a couple weeks ago, where it's like we've got some people we train with that are being coached by, like, in my case, like us, right, coached by us. Some of these guys are good enough to basically be coaches at their home gyms, right? So they've got some level of proficiency already, but then it's like my realization was, well, why aren't I asking them questions? You know, because like they clearly know stuff too.
Yeah.
So now it's this really cool environment where everyone's an open book about most of like the stuff that they'll show or teach, or like you can kind of go up to a sparring partner or whatever and be like, it's like, hey, did you notice anything in particular? Anything you found that was like kind of easy to get on me? Like anything you found particularly effective? Or like, how about that situation? Like, what were you thinking about there? Like, I kind of want to pick your brain there a little bit because I felt like you really got me there. And so like those conversations now you can kind of have with training partners here who are basically considered like coach caliber, like instructors from a lot of other gyms in the world. Like that's a really, really unique situation where like as long as you can get proactive about going to the people that you feel like you need, then you've got a lot more resources than just the coaches here. But
Yeah.
that took me a really long time to realize.
Coaches are coming here from other countries to know more about coaching.
Yeah.
And they're taking the classes with you.
Right. Right.
So it says something, right?
Yeah,
And it's
'cause,
not
like-
just gyms. There's other, like there's Tiger and there's like a South. There's a lot of gyms here, right?
Yeah.
We're just talking about this gym because we're
Right.
here. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, like it's a battle, man. Like even in the gym. But like you said, you're in a unique position, just like her, is where you got people coming from all different countries, all different styles.
Yeah.
You should, and they're here to train.
Right.
They're here to really train like every day, like a couple times a day. Like that's what their full goal is, right?
Yeah.
Why not talk to them and be like, yo, you guys want to come a little early, like tomorrow, and like, you know, I could teach you some stuff. You could teach me stuff. Why is that not happening more?
Right. That knowledge exchange is big.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
you're in a perfect place. Everybody's coming to you. You don't have to go to them.
Mhm.
You should be able to just go up to people and like after training, especially 4 o'clock, that's where everybody comes anyways, and be like,
Yeah.
yo, dude, like you look like you're pretty good at fucking like the boxing stuff. Maybe we could work on some stuff later. You know, why is that not happening more? Like,
Yeah.
you see it happening, but it should be more, right? The
Right.
mat should be filled all the time. You know what I mean? Like filled all the time. I know they're filled, but like, I don't know. It seems like that's just like something that's untapped that
For
could be
sure.
tapped more,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, what do I know? I'm not a fighter. I'm just an observer.
Yeah, because it's like, so I think you see this from like other industries outside of combat sports, especially where it's like, let's say like if we're just talking about exchange of knowledge, right, from one person to another, there's kind of like a teacher and student dynamic. But as you like get higher and higher up, like let's say like smarter and smarter up, more achieved, you don't really get that mentor, that teacher anymore, or that professor, right? All of a sudden it becomes like they call them like masterminds and like think tanks, where instead it's like instead of having one teacher, now it's like you basically go to this one conference meeting, whatever, right? And there's like 10 or 20 people, probably like similar level of accomplishment, maybe. And then now everyone's trading ideas with each other. Because like that's kind of, and I feel like at a certain level, that's the only way to get like completely up to date, like cutting edge, like info. That's just like everyone's just at the top of their game at whatever they're doing. But then it comes from more of a place of like everyone's sharing what they know with each other than like just this one guy kind of like feeding what they've got, to like 10, 20, 30 other people. It's like it's a very different dynamic.
It's ego too, because a lot of people are just like,
True.
or they're just like shy too. It
Yeah,
could be that
yeah.
as well. But a lot of it, I think a lot of it's ego too. It's just like, it's hard to say like, hey, you're good at this, teach me. And they're
Right.
just another fighter. It's not even a coach, what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Just like another fighter. But I think you should kind of let that go and be like, yo, maybe I could learn something from them
For
that I
sure.
could use and easy for me to utilize. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just think that there's a lot of opportunity for that here. But I do see it. I do see people doing it though, of course.
Yeah.
It's not like people are not. Maybe some people are just latching onto the wrong people, but you know what I mean? The environment is not always like, hey, it's always beneficial. It's not
Right.
like that. But anyways, let's move on to this card this weekend. I'll definitely be watching this. I'll definitely be watching this card. Well, I watch every card pretty much. I just don't watch it at the gym because it's just like, hey, can you move?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that
Hey
gets
man,
really
can you move?
annoying.
That's true. There's a lot
Just
of
the
that
lack
now,
of
huh?
consideration. Like I would be so self-conscious. I'd be like, am I in the way of the
Yeah,
TV?
just
No,
start,
but
like,
the thing is,
ducking.
you can't blame them because they're like the
They're
cafe's
in
right
line to
there.
order
Like,
food.
yeah, they're in
Yeah.
line to order food. It's just like it's almost like it's hard to get mad about it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, but anyways, that's why I don't go. But anyways,
Fair.
but yeah, this card, there's some good fights on this card. Let's look at some of the. Oh, we got some Aussies in here. Josh Kulabal's fighting. Danny Silva. That's a pretty good matchup. Josh is, man.
Is Josh the one with the mullet? He had the mullet before.
No, Josh is the Filipino guy.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about now.
I think he has like a twin brother. His brother looks exactly like him. But anyways, Josh, man, he's carved out a pretty good career for himself, man. Coming from the regional scene, I remember interviewing him during the regional days when he fought in Australia. Yeah, so, but it's always good to see fighters do that. But yeah, this weekend he should be able to go in there and do his thing. It's like a pretty good matchup. Josh is super tough too. He doesn't look like the most intimidating guy because he's not like all muscle bound or anything like that.
But don't you
he
feel
can
like there's
fight.
so many fighters like that? Like,
Oh,
look at Brandon Moreno. Like, there's nothing scary about
But they
that
can
kid.
fight though.
Yeah.
And they're dogs too. Like look
Yeah.
at Josh is a dog. Brandon Moreno's a dog.
Yeah.
Those guys just have something in them. Is it body dysmorphism? What is it called?
No, body dysmorphia is when you think you're fat, but you're not fat.
Yeah, maybe they got it. I
They
don't
got
know.
that dog in them.
But because of that, they got the dog in them, right? Because of the body dysmorphia.
Oh man.
That's what I got. I got body dysmorphia. I got that dog in me.
Gotta
Like,
have
I'll eat your.
Yeah, having some level of like delusional, like, oh God, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, like kind of thing.
You got to
Like,
be delusional sometimes, right?
It goes pretty far,
everybody has to.
surprisingly.
Everybody has to be delusional in some aspects of their life, right? Even if it's ridiculous, and some people will look at you crazy. But hey, there's a reason why Kanye West, everybody thinks he's crazy because he's great at what he does.
Right. And it's kind of cool too, right? So like if there's this like objective measure of where you actually are, like if there's like a perfect number to put like where your skill level's at, the chances of you actually knowing like what that specific number is, it's kind of low, right? You're probably either gonna overshoot or undershoot, like especially depending on
I feel like I do both, right? So part of me doesn't think I'm very good, but then the other part of me, like I was looking at Motta today and he's like in the UFC, he's like 75 kilos because we were talking about that I was having a bit of a harder time with Ibai. And he's like, Ibai gives me a hard time. I said, yeah, but in my head, I could beat you. Like I can wrestle in my head. There's also a part of me that's like, I'll kill all of you. But I know that's not actually true. There's just like grown men that'll smash me. But there's this delusion where I'm like, no, I'll kill everyone.
Right. So now there's this interesting idea, right? Where it's like, well, if I can't even tell how good I actually am, then like, why don't I just assume that I'm really good while still being like humble and like coachable and all of that? But then like, at least I've got the confidence if I think I'm awesome compared to like, if I've just lost my confidence because I constantly think I'm much lower than I actually am.
I think you have to have that because the total opposite end of that is the worst thing.
Well, I think I'm the best and the worst simultaneously. I know.
You could be the best and the worst in the same day in fighting.
Right.
Like it's just a trip. Like you could have one round where you're just like, yo,
I'm amazing.
in the zone.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone. Like I'm amazing. Like it was flawless. Then the next round, total opposite. thing can happen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do you have to balance that and then recover from the lows.
Yeah.
Because the highs the highs are high, but it's just like,
Right.
there's only one way down.
Yeah.
There's one way to go, is back down, right?
That's
Then
true.
recover from the lows. I think a
Yeah.
lot of fighters, it takes longer for them to recover from the lows.
Yep.
Certain fighters, but certain fighters, they can recover from the lows instantly.
Yeah.
It's just a trip. That's the psychology of fighting, right? It's just like
Mhm.
how some fighters, they can lose. And like that girl you're talking about, the Japanese girl, like she got her teeth knocked out and her face is, opened up like someone chainsawed her face. And she's just laughing on the phone,
Yeah.
right? And just showing her face to her friends or whatever, right? It's just like,
Right.
it's like, what?
Yeah. It's such a big thing. And like, because I remember the first 2 seasons I had like competing in college, like Division 3 level and stuff. Like I didn't think I was that good, but I kept undershooting my actual skill level. And that really affected my performance, where I was like, the only person who was like telling me that I was getting better was my coach. So it was like, even in like a 3, 4, 5 month progression, my coach was like, Che, like you would have killed the Che from like 6 months ago. But like I didn't feel it. I didn't know it. Like I was on a big losing streak at the time. And then I think the thing that kind of turned it around was because I was competing with all these like university level wrestlers, right? It's funny. This was completely unexpected. I went to go help out with like a summer camp. So like middle school kids, high school kids. And then, the head coach is like, he likes to surprise people, this guy. And he's like, Che, go live with, whatever, like with Jimmy. And then Jimmy's some like middle school, high schooler, right? Everyone's kind of watching. And I'd like beat the snot out of these little kids. You're like, fuck, I'm actually pretty good at this. Right?
That sounds like such a good time.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Beating the
but
snot out
also
of
like,
them.
but there was also, there'd be these moments where like sometimes a high school kid's just good enough where you're a little bit worried they can actually like kind of get you, right? And I had one of those moments too. But for the most part, yeah, I was just beating people up left and right. And I was like, damn, I actually am good at wrestling. It's just like I haven't noticed it because like the levels where I was competing with other people at a level that felt like they were just 1 or 2 steps ahead of me, that I just never felt I was good. But then like that kind of flipped the switch.
But what about also when you go with those people who aren't actually that good and they bring you down to their level? Like sometimes I wrestle better with people who wrestle well because
Yes.
they can actually move properly and then it allows you guys space. Then I go with someone who realistically I should smash in wrestling, but because they just don't move in like they don't react the correct way or move in the correct manner, it actually sometimes will make your wrestling like worse.
Yeah, and I think some of that's got to do with like when there's like certain people in front of you that are good, it's kind of like you got to bring your A game. And so subconsciously you're like, all right, now I got to focus, right? And like there's a good and a bad to it, where when you bring your A game, it's good for the most part. You don't get to try out as many new things, like get as creative, make as many mistakes, right? But then like, when you have to dial it down a little bit to go against someone who let's say that's not at your level, then that gets a little bit challenging, because now it's like, okay, now you can really think about what's going on. You can kind of let yourself off the hook a little bit. And I think that's where like now you're in thinking mode, right? And then when you're in thinking mode, not everything's going to go as smooth as your like A game. Because that used to happen with Quentin. Like when I would go live with Quentin, just because he's so fast and so explosive, I was like, I gotta have my A game, or he's gonna be at my ankle and I'm just gonna blink once and then like I'm gonna be on the floor, right? And so props to Quentin on that one, because like he really like forced me to focus so hard on like concentrating so much that like time started to like slow down so I could actually see him like move. And like every time I stand in front of Quentin like to do a round, I feel like there's a part of my body that just understands that like, okay, it's got to be go time or like you're gonna get smoked.
It's so funny because obviously Quentin's been one of my main training partners for like a lot of my camps.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll wrestle him. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually doing really well. And then I watch him go off and wrestle one of the guys, and I'm like, oh, Quentin let me do really well. Quentin was definitely letting me do that.
Nah, it's perfect though. It's like, when you step in the weight room, right? It's like there's a certain amount of weight that like you can hit and you feel good.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, Quentin is so good at like
He
being
knows
that, like,
how
you
to be a
know,
really good training partner.
Yeah.
He's
right.
definitely like,
So it's like he puts the perfect amount of weight on the bar for you. So
Yeah.
then like you're good. You're doing good
Yeah.
stuff, right? And then like, yeah, he can put a little bit more weight on depending on who it is,
but he's trying to play like sometimes like we'll be sparring and I'll catch him with a takedown
Mhm.
and he'll play it off as if I really got it. And then
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'm like, nah, you lie to me.
Dude, that dude's like tagged my right foot so much. Like if you did a DNA test on my right foot, you probably have like Quentin's hand there, like somewhere. I swear to God. It's insane.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
You know,
All the
he's
time.
like never lifted weights.
Yeah, he's just born like that.
Yeah.
Those African
Yeah, you
genes.
saw we were in the weight room once. Like we were it was that day the mats came in for the new area. And Quentin was supposed to help. And I was like, I would just happen to be around. So I was like, all right, I'll get a lift in while like all these mats are still coming out. Right. So I'm in and then like I'm lifting and stuff. And Quentin's like, can I jump in too? I was like, yeah, sure. It's like, all right, let's use the same weight. I was like, damn. Well, and like bear in mind, right? I've been lifting weights since like high school. Jumps in, pretty much lifts like the exact same amount as I do, like minus a few reps just to be safe. But I was like, why did I do all that work? Like if Quentin just walks in and just does the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
But genetics sometimes.
There's a lot of people. Quinn's one of them like that. You run into those people all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some good fights. You know what I mean? Ty's fighting on this in the main event. It'd be good to see him get a win. Marcin Tybura is no joke, though. He's been around for a while.
But one thing is I think more than 50% of his losses is him getting knocked out. And
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa has like 11 first-round finishes.
Yeah.
That guy hits hard.
Ty's going to berserk him. That's what's going to happen. I don't
Yeah.
think, he's not going to be.
The other guy I know he's got better grappling, but I think Ty's takedown defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he's lost to a lot of the power strikers.
Yeah.
Like Ty. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? It's going to be a toss-up. That's what heavyweight's about. It's
Well, I
always a
want
toss-up.
Tuivasa to win. He's just such a nice guy.
Of course.
Like,
Oh my God.
Of course.
he's just so normal. He just reminds me, I grew up with like in a church environment and we had a lot of like Cook Islanders, like Samoans, like Kiwi like family friends. And he just reminds me of that vibe. Like he's just, he's very, very cool.
Were you would have been around when he was like at the gym
When
and
he was
stuff,
here,
right? And it was hilarious.
I really liked Ty because obviously like my dad was fanboying a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But Ty would just give my dad the time of day all day. Like he would just talk to my dad, chat to him. My dad always felt so special. So that's when I was like, shit, you're a good egg. I like this guy.
He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
He's a good celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like
He knows he's a people person.
Yeah,
my dad will
for
walk
sure.
away like all giddy. He's like,
And dude, I've been around Ty where like the last fan you would think would walk up to Ty and ask for a picture.
Really?
And it'd be like, what, you? It was like something like small like Asian girl. She didn't even look that old. She probably was in her like early 20s or something.
Oh wow.
And like, she just comes up. We were eating, which I didn't like at all. But she just comes up and she's like, are you tied to a pot?
Oh my God. That's great.
you remember when we did with Win, the little talk on the beach? It was me, you, George, and Win.
Yeah.
So obviously there was that I brought up, we were talking about females training with males, and I had this situation with this kid in South Africa who got like
A boner.
a boner mid-roll.
Oh.
But that was like later on in the podcast, in the talk or whatever. And when I was in the gym, he said to me, he's like, oh, I heard, that's such a funny story, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you listened to that podcast? Like you actually listened
No, remember
to
I made
it?
a clip.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
did.
put it on Instagram. So
Damn, you
probably-
just ruined my moment.
Yeah. Well, still, he saw that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's-
But he was like that. You handled it
Yeah.
so well, blah, blah, blah. He's just really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that still means something.
yeah. Like, if you've been around Ty, like, what type of person he is.
Yeah.
You see him on TV and everything.
He's very
and-
consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel
personality.
I
like
like
even
that
if
his
they-
personality though on TV. It's
It's
the same
what- yeah,
guy.
in person,
Yeah, that's
for
what I
sure.
really like.
Yeah, there's no persona there. He's just who he is.
He is
Um,
who he is.
Did you see there's that clip of him where he's like, talking about the fight. He's like, I'm going in to get head. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, that sounds a little bit inappropriate. And then he's laughing. His laugh is really iconic. It's such a good laugh.
Yeah, he's been part of some great skits too, right? That like when the UFC does like, yeah.
He's
I can't
what
remember
about
any
who
of
was
them.
it when they were at the press conference and these guys were going off and you can see Tai Tuivasa just sitting there like
Just enjoying having
Yeah.
the time of his life.
Because he loves that. He's
Yeah.
been in that, you know, in
Right,
that
right.
environment. But yeah, he's like people. I've posted about this, but people that always ask me like, who's my favorite fighter?
I saw you recently
Yeah,
post on
but
that.
it's Ty because like I know him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so
That's true. If we're talking like character wise,
Yeah,
Ty
like,
is like
you know,
so lovable.
like if you know him, and if you know him outside of that too, then you'd like him
True.
even more. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
But he can go out there and turn it up. Though.
That's true. He doesn't take
Easy.
himself too seriously.
Nah.
Like it's awesome. Like I remember like my memory of him at Bang Tao is like he would take over the playlists and like you'd always know because it's not like
such good music.
yeah, and
though.
it's not like hardcore, like let's beat the crap out of people today. It'd be like 2000s like R&B.
He does it in the I was lifting weights once and he was in there and he had the
Yeah.
playlist. I'm like, yo, this playlist is fire. It's
Yeah,
so
I'm like I'm
good.
feeling this right now. I was like, and I told him once too, I was like, bro, like I love your playlist. And all he says is, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Just walks off.
What was it? He was in one of the wrestling sessions once. I think he was like gassing out really hard a little bit though, but he was making fun of himself about it.
Oh yeah.
He was yeah, he's really nice. I like him. My dad's a huge fan.
He kept venting about how much he hated wrestling.
Yeah.
Grappling. It's so funny.
Yeah, so you know, of course, we'll be all rooting for Ty
Absolutely.
to win. Christian Rodriguez, who was at the gym, I think about like 2 months ago, he's fighting Isaac Dalgarian. Okay, so all the fighters that I interviewed on this card,
Okay.
Isaac Dalgarian, Brian Barberena, Mike Davis, Chelsea Chandler,
Mike
Josh
Davis won this
Kulabau, Corey McKenna, Chad Alhanger, and
Who's Corey McKenna fighting?
Jacqueline Maureen.
What weight?
Jiu-jitsu girl.
What weight class is that?
Strawweight.
Oh yeah, I know who I know who she is now. Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mike hasn't been as active as I thought he
6.
would have been since like what's it called? Like since I think I remember he's been on a few
Dude,
cards.
he's so good.
Yeah. he
Mike
is.
Davis is so good. But I just interviewed him maybe a couple weeks ago. And he's like he has this attitude of like, man, I just fight because I can make money to do what I want to do. Not like it's not like I love fighting or like I'm excited to
see.
fight. But he's so talented.
So he's
Like
got
the
like,
kid is good.
so he's got passion for like is it like the teaching the martial arts?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, I see.
So like he's 10-2, right?
Mhm.
He's 31, which is like prime age right
Yeah.
now. 3-1 in the UFC. His only
Okay.
loss was to Gilbert Burns, who's not even a lightweight anymore,
Mm.
right?
Right.
But he lost to Gilbert Burns in his debut, I think. Yeah, it was
Wow.
his UFC debut. He had to fight Gilbert Burns.
Holy shit.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
welcome
the
to
UFC.
But after that, you know, I mean, he actually fought lightweight, and
Okay.
he's done really well, man. The
Nice.
kid is talented. I think he just got a couple surgeries too.
Oh, okay.
So he's come back for a couple surgeries. But yeah,
Right.
I like him. I like he's just him. You know where he used to train, where he started training?
Where?
He's from New York. He started training at Customado's gym.
I remember him telling me this. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was out at Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger.
for-
He won the tryouts and didn't even stay.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
That is kind of crazy.
Mic drop. He's like, I won. See you
Yeah.
bitches. I just didn't want you to have it. Just didn't want anyone else to
That's
have it.
nuts, right? Like he goes through the tryouts, wins, he gets all this like 1 year everything, and then leaves and never comes back.
Right.
It's just like, dude is different.
Yeah.
That's just different.
He was just like ripping someone's opportunity away from them.
Yeah. True. 'Cause I think
Asshole,
he wasn't
like-
there. Like,
Damn.
but yeah, without he's so good. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. Yeah, Penny Kienza is fighting Macy Chizon. I think that's how you say it. But that should be a pretty good fight. Milano, they come from like Denmark. Him and his son.
I have
There's
to,
a Milano. He's like bald head,
you
older
have
guy.
to show me faces.
You know what I'm talking about,
sometimes.
right?
Yeah.
He's the coach of like one of the big gyms in Denmark,
Okay.
right? But Penny Kienza used to come to do her training camps there. But I think
okay.
there's one other UFC guy that trains there. He still fights in the UFC right now.
Oh, cool.
But his son, he's 18. His son's gonna be a monster. Like he's already won like multiple like amateur titles.
Is that the blonde kid?
No,
Oh.
it's like his son is Michael, I think his name is.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But like, yeah,
Because I
like,
think he had a growth spurt. Like,
Yeah.
because between one year and the other, I was like, damn, this dude got a lot.
he
bigger.
wants to come. He wants to come and stay here for a long period and train.
Cool.
And he's at that age too. When you're 18, damn.
Oh my god, I feel like if I had started fighting at that age, I would definitely be like top 5 UFC right now.
There's so many kids that are so young. That like.
Yeah.
I'm just worried
Do you ever
I'm just worried that they're maybe taking too much damage too early.
Too early,
And
yeah.
that's
Shorten their
exactly what
career.
happened in because like so to get good at wrestling and judo, for example, you have to start really young. And like the challenge is how do you keep this kid like interested and healthy for that
And
long?
disciplined, right? Because they kind of miss out on a child, like
Yeah.
in comparison to a lot of kids, they miss out on childhoods. And
Yeah,
stuff.
because I remember like it was a Division 3 school in New Jersey, right? And like so what would happen, right? Like middle school and high school, you'd be getting like basically like watched over by your parents, right? So someone takes you to training and stuff. It's just a no-brainer, especially if your parents are just crazy about it
Yeah.
too. So like you'd be on this perfect schedule, but then you'd be miserable, right? And so what happened was when they first get to university or college, then like they don't love it anymore because no one's forcing them to do it, right? And so like they had this incident. I only heard this from one of my teammates where like there were more people. Well, there were less like so between the wrestling team and like one of the frat houses, that frat house had more people that won like New Jersey state championships than the actual wrestling team because like they were just so burnt out and so many people
Wow.
quit.
You know what? I see that a lot in like Muay Thai. You know, obviously some kids are forced to fight at 2, 3 years old,
Yeah.
and they train them like dogs. And then when they get this freedom at 18 or 21, they're like,
They're
fuck
like
all
old-
y'all,
they're
I'm
like
just gonna go
old.
drink beer and
Yeah.
alcohol. Like I'm just gonna get
That's a very real
because I
thing.
didn't get to do anything as a kid, and then they
Yeah.
just go
They ruin their
haywire.
lives.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
happened to some of my teammates too.
I feel like I got to be like really crazy as a teenager and stuff. So then when I got into fighting,
Yeah.
because I lived in Thailand quite young. I mean, I was clubbing at like 15, 16. And then when I was in Australia and I was 21 and some people were like had just started clubbing, it was all new
Yeah.
to them. I was like, "Oh, I've kind of done this.
Right. There's something to be said about like at least being exposed to it or like kind of even in some cases just like getting it out of your system
Yeah.
early. Because
Well, I was going to party in college campuses when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So like I was embedded into that culture
Yeah.
like very young because I had friends that were much like a couple years
Yeah, I
older.
always had
Right.
older
They already
friends.
graduated and then they're already in major universities,
Yeah.
which were like hour drive from where I was at. So
right.
like every weekend, my senior year, I wouldn't even be hanging out with high school kids. I'll be at the university campus.
That's
Like
awesome.
I'm just pretending I'm from this university. Just like,
Perfect.
and I look young. Even back then, I look super young, right? So I'm like on college campus looking.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
just Asian. It's just the Asian gene.
Yeah, for real.
Just
So
the
like I'll just be like, yeah, like because my friends would be like going to like UW, which is like really major campus, right? University of Washington. And then I'll just say, oh, I'm from like this other college. I'm from like
I see.
Pensacola College or something. And they'd be like, oh, you're from there? Yeah, my friends go here. Because there's always parties every weekend at college campus.
For sure.
Every weekend. And
Yeah.
like so many girls, like, and so many guys, I guess. And like if you're the girl, whatever. If you're into that, whatever. But mixture, right?
I hear you.
But yeah, like it was just fun. But you know, being exposed to that young, like as I got older, like it was out of my system.
Right.
It's still in my system. It's never gonna go away. But it's like now I don't have to like be
We
in the
just see
scene.
Korean John on like a college campus.
it's like I don't have to be like you don't have that FOMO. In you.
Right. You're not like
You're not.
fiending for
Yeah.
it.
You're not feeling. You're like, oh, I'm missing out on something if I'm not
I
there.
haven't gone out in like almost been more than a year and a half for sure.
Well, but you do have to go out once in a while. You do have to go out there and like remember that hey, there is this world out
There's
here.
this life.
And it
Listen,
could be fun, and it could be really bad, right?
I hate the recovery time that is
really bad
required.
about it.
And also I'm like what I'm doing is I'm just not going to do anything. And then after I win my debut on a big promotion, I'm just going to go like haywire on that
Just
weekend.
get
Like
lit.
it's just going to like let it all out.
It's gonna be like
Exactly.
double fisted, right? She's like
Jesus.
That sounded so much worse. than what you
Jada's
meant.
going wild.
Hey, if your mind's in the gutter, that's what you say. But
We
but
call
yeah.
it double parked.
Yeah.
but
Just taking Jada straight to the
actually,
gutter.
I don't.
Duct tape her hands.
I don't drink alcohol,
Duct
but
tape her hands with like bottles of wine.
Oh, Jesus.
You can't let it go.
Oh yeah, that's a proper drinking game.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, I think some people but it does the way I look at it with these like the next generation of fighters that are young that started in their like early teens or maybe in elementary school.
Yeah.
Either they're gonna get burned out quick.
Yeah.
They're gonna have way more injuries as a young kid because it's still you can't dodge injuries just because you're young. It happens, right?
Yeah.
And the prime of a fighter is going to be much younger.
Yes.
Now it's like in the early 30s, late 20s. That's what people consider, right? But I think it's going to become mid 20s. It could be the prime because this younger generation is fighting at like 16,
Right.
like full blast, like pros, right? 16, and then by 20, you're in the UFC or wherever you want to fight at, right? And by the time you're 25, you're in your prime.
Yeah, your body's
And then
only
you're-
got
yeah.
so much
I
mileage.
also
Exactly.
was curious. Do you think that because obviously as I'm watching, I can see how fighting always evolves, right? And like the new generations are just so much more talented and etc. But do you think that there's a point where it's just got to stop kind of evolving, or do humans just keep becoming like more super freaks and you get like better fighters as the years? Do you know what I'm saying? Because like when my dad compares like our generation to his generation, he's like, they just weren't the same as like you guys. But I also see kids come like Shea Williams, that kid Shea Williams, like
Shea
he's like
Williams,
14
Yeah.
and I'm watching him belt on with 25-year-old
Adults,
men.
yeah.
He's like smashing their
Yeah.
face.
Right.
Or he's 14 years old. Like,
Mhm.
is there a
Insane.
point though where it's gonna stop, or is that just like infinite evolution?
No,
Yeah,
I think it gets to a point where the evolution does slow down to a very slow pace. But I
Right.
think like there will be turns of like, oh, the wrestlers are in dominant form for this amount of time, or the kickboxing. It all depends on the weight division as well. It's gonna go like what it is now, but just at a higher level.
Right.
But I think the evolution will slow down in the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But we'll see such high level fights even at the lower level.
Right.
Like we'll
Yeah.
see the fights of the year at the lower
Yeah.
level, but it'll be more technical. It's not like, I think the tough guys will start to fade out more. The tough guy, like I'm just gonna just march forward. It's gonna fade out a little bit more because
Right,
people are
right.
gonna get smarter. They're gonna have better cardio.
Mhm.
There's much more science too that
Right.
kids and everybody
Yeah,
has
kids get to
available
work
them.
smarter from an earlier age now,
Exactly,
like, much
right?
more than they're used to.
And it's gonna be ingrained in them. Like you fight this style, you have to fight this way. Not like if you fight this style, you just fight your way, and if you lose, you lose.
Right.
Right. There's always gonna be those fighters, but I think those will be filtered out at the highest level
Yeah.
in these bigger promotions.
Right. Right.
But I think like right now, and even in the past 20, 30 years of the sport, we've only seen maybe 20% of the fighters that we've seen in all the promotions actually fight in their prime.
Right.
I think.
Mm.
Because I think most fighters don't even reach a prime.
Right.
Most fighters.
Mhm.
They can't, they're not able to match the mind and the body
Mhm.
Mm.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? They just, and you know, I'm not saying that because you match it perfectly that you're gonna become a champion or something like that.
Right.
Because some people's primes are not champion prime. Like
Right,
some
right.
people's primes are like,
Just kind of hit whatever your
yeah,
potential is.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think I think only 20% of fighters have reached that.
Mm.
They fought all their whole career. The reason why is maybe because of injury,
Right.
maybe because of mental breakdown.
Well, like look
you know
at
what I mean?
Tatiana Suarez. She's
Exactly, right?
amazing, but
Well-
she just always like
But we
shit luck.
will say she has the potential, but we can never say for our honest truth that she
Yeah.
would have been like who
Right.
we expected her to be. Like
Yeah.
like everybody knows. We've known that for years that Tatiana Suarez, if she was healthy, she would be the champion.
Yeah.
That's what we think. But we don't know because she's
Right. Because
she keeps
gotta
getting
show up
injured.
and be healthy
Yeah,
too,
it's just
like,
it's sad.
prove it.
It's a sad. She had cancer and survive and come back.
Yeah.
And then now it's just riddled with injuries, it's
Mm.
very sad to see.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
about to go home and do some serious journaling so I can balance my mind and body
Because
and
the thing
reach
is,
my
like, I
full
think
potential.
some people, like, their mind is like at a certain level. And I was talking to a fighter about this last week, I think, that like this one fighter was saying that, hey, my mind is at the highest level right now. Just my body.
See, I feel
can't
like
catch
the
up.
opposite. I
Injuries
feel
and
literally the
Yeah.
opposite
Okay.
way.
Mm.
The
I
body.
just feel like physically, like I have good cardio. I'm really strong. Like I'm in good shape.
Mhm.
I haven't even hit my prime physically yet, but my mind is just like definitely causing, like impeding my
battles,
growth. It's
the
impeding my
battles,
growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
the battles. But the thing is, like, that's why I say, like, most fighters don't reach their prime.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
and we talk about, oh, these are the prime years, and this fighter's in his prime, and you know, maybe from results that we think that they're in their prime, but maybe they're better 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the competition is lower, you know, and they just look like they're in their prime. I don't know. You know, there's so many variables in fighting, right? So, but it's an interesting conversation that you could have for like 15 hours.
Oh my God, I could go forever.
Yeah, we could just blab on for it because it's just like endless. It's endless. Like, okay, let's break it down by each martial art, the coaches, the facilities, and all this, and then the science that you're using. Oh, are you taking steroids? Are you taking peptides? Are you doing this? Are you taking that? Like, there's so much stuff going on, right? Can you be at your prime if you're using steroids? That's another aspect of the sport too. Yeah. Right? Like, can you reach your prime quicker on steroids?
But that's not your true prime because that's like enhanced.
You see, then there's the true prime. There's the enhanced prime.
Yeah.
Right? Then like, look at Vitor Belfort.
Right. And then like you see sometimes with people who get that like physical enhancement from like supplements or whatever, and sometimes it almost like stunts their mental toughness, mental development, because
they feel like they need it.
They just don't do as many. Like it kind of gets in their own head, right? Like we can make an example of not even just like someone on steroids, but like if someone's crazy athletic and they've never had to work a day in their life for it, sometimes when the stuff gets a little bit challenging, when stuff gets a little bit hard, mentally they kind of start folding because like they don't know how to like handle that adversity. So
that's why they say like hard work will beat talent every time when talent doesn't work hard.
Right. And so whatever the perfect balance is with like working smart and working hard, I think like if all you do is, let's say like if you just for like theory's sake, if we put taking steroids in like the working smart column, because like, you know, it takes you less effort to get to like a certain level, then it's like, yeah, but then, you know, there's counter arguments where it's like, all right, well, all I have to do is, if this guy is enhanced, and I know he's enhanced, and I can stay in this fight somehow, right? Then it's like, all I have to do is get them mentally in deep waters, then they start like short-circuiting a little bit, and that's where you can start mentally breaking somebody. And so like there's that counter argument that at least like some old school coaches have been able to make, like where
you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Shay back and bring Max, and then we'll sit down and we'll have this type of podcast.
Oh,
we're just talking about this.
Yeah, because I think Max and I have had these conversations.
Yeah, I think you guys probably have. I think I've talked to Max about this too.
And
it'd be interesting to see like what Max will say about it. But
yeah.
Anyways, make sure you guys go in the descriptions, download the All-Star app to make picks. We made our picks. We're going with Tai Tuivasa.
Are you saying I'm not good enough for this conversation?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like
dumb.
You know, because they've had the conversation before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So they
a lot of
like
people ask me if I take steroids. Thank you.
They do?
Yeah, I've been accused / asked a lot.
You are kind of jacked.
Just because I'm super jacked and lean, like I'm very veiny too, and I kind of want to be like, listen, if I was on steroids, I would be killing bitches.
Build a house on her back, you know.
I know, but
I don't even train the back.
I don't think she even looks like she's on steroids. So.
It's just because I'm shredded all year round. It's just like that's a genetic thing for sure.
I like food too much to be shredded.
I like food too. I just genetics.
And I'm pretty lean right now.
You are,
right?
Yeah.
But I still eat trash.
That's a good, that's a good balance, though. I
still eat trash, to be honest with you. Like I'm drinking Coca-Cola every day.
We were just out there eating burritos, and I was having a cheeky Coke with. Don't tell my nutritionist.
I had a milkshake.
It's just
I know, but you literally forget to eat all day, and then you try cram 3,000 calories into.
I do that sometimes too.
You're like on permanent Ramadan, dude. You just fast during the day.
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah, unintentional intermittent fasting.
I've done that many times. We're just like, oh man, what kind of combination of food?
I know, but he posts about food and stuff all the time. I'm like, how does someone who loves food just forget to eat?
Yeah, I forget to eat too.
Thank you.
Sometimes sit down and be like doing shit and you just forget. But
yeah, it's almost like it's too inconvenient to eat right now, and then you kind of forget.
I thought I destroyed my metabolism like the last couple of years.
Oh,
and then I came back here and started training and stuff. And then it's like
it starts coming back. When
it's like even if I'm eating trash, I'm still losing weight or maintaining. Because right now I'm walking around at like 77, 78 kilos, which is a very good weight to walk around at for my
Nice.
height, I think, and for
Awesome.
my age too.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus, if I took my shirt off, I don't think I look like that old. You know what I mean?
that's true.
With the face to it as well.
We don't want to see you with your shirt off.
I know you
Green
don't.
John. Okay.
Like I'm peeling all over. It looks really disgusting.
Hey, I like the self plug though. I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, it's all
Go
good.
on,
It's all
King.
good. But hey, make sure you guys go in the descriptions, download the app, and make your picks for the UFC fights this weekend. You could win prizes. Join the leagues. J-Spec's got a league. He gives out like free autographs for the top winners. Make sure you guys go over there and try to win all of that. And Jada's gonna be fighting in a week and a
2
half,
weeks.
in 2 weeks at Simbi Boxing Stadium, March 31st.
There
Go
will
check
be a
that
live
out.
stream.
She'll be selling tickets if you're in Phuket or you're coming to Phuket in the next couple of weeks and you want to go watch some fights. Jada got the tickets for you. Get her code, a hashtag lunatic. No, I'm just kidding. But
Hashtag beat a bitch's ass.
Yeah.
Hey,
But anyways, Shay, we'll have you back, Shay. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys on Monday. We're gonna have a couple of Brazilians. I think the first show with a couple of Brazilians on Monday. You'll find out who it is. See you guys next week.